What's going on, Lions fans? Welcome to the Pride of Detroit POD here on, well, it should be called a Victory Monday, but I think I'm going to rename this Monday to Thank God the Lions Have Jahmyr Gibbs Monday, because that's exactly kind of how I feel. Or we can even call it, I can't believe we almost lost that game Monday. I don't know what we're going to call this day, but there is a lot to talk about after the Lions pulled out a very nail-biting win over the New York Giants yesterday, beating the Giants 34 to 27 in overtime. We are going to have a lot to talk about, but first and foremost, let me introduce my amazing co-host. First and foremost, we have your senior editor, Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD back with us this week. Ryan, how are you feeling? I feel like you were a little coming in a little bit hot before we got on the podcast.
I'm not sure how many lives I have left after that game. Like if I'm a cat and I have nine, I mean, the last thing I want to associate myself with is the number nine. But I don't know if I have too many after that game.
6 or 7.
Stop, Jonathan Vilma, stop. Enough Jonathan Vilma. No more Jonathan Vilma this year. That's the only thing I'm asking for Christmas, Meko.
That's fair, because I think that's the only other thing, Jeremy, that made that game like unbearable outside of the Lions, performance for most of that game, outside of a couple players here and there, is the fact that we had to like sit through another Jonathan Vilma performance. But even with that said, Jeremy Reisman's here with us at Detroit Online over on Twitter. Jeremy, how are you feeling? I hope you're going to be the one that's going to bring in some optimism to this podcast today, because I'm not sure how much Ryan and I have.
I have the added benefit of not having Jonathan Vilma syndrome because I got to watch the game live and didn't have to hear any of that. So maybe that does make me in a better mood. I'm actually in a relatively good mood. I won't say I was after that game, and in full transparency, I was probably more upset after that game than I was the Eagles game. But after a rewatch and some time to think about it, I'm not completely down in the dumps about this team, and I think a little bit of perspective is needed. A resetting is needed. And, not that we need to lower our expectations of this team or anything like that, but the team is 7-4 and in a relatively good spot and has everything in front of them in terms of playoff wants and needs. Like the world is still theirs for the taking, and of NFC contenders, I can point to one that doesn't look like they have as many flaws as the Lions right now. And that's it.
Yeah, I think we can draw like a pretty solid line. We are not in no way saying that this team is cooked. We're not in no way saying this team needs to all of a sudden tank, because apparently I've seen that been kind of spread out there by a couple of fans here and there. We're not saying that, but I do think there is, like to Jeremy's point, there is a level setting that needs to be done in terms of just, yeah, listen, this team does have everything right in front of them. I think what Dan Campbell has said numerous times in some of his post-game press conferences, at some point in time, you just got to find a way to win, and you never apologize for a win. And I don't think the Lions necessarily need to do that, but I do think there are some things, Ryan, that this team absolutely needs to take some inventory of if they really want to, meet the expectations that they have set for themselves back in the offseason.
What do you think those things are, Meko? In your opinion, what's one thing that the Lions have to take stock of before they can move forward?
I think the division is one of the first things that they have to take stock of, and realizing that, like, at this point in time, like, they don't really have any room for mistakes when it comes down to their in-division opponents, whether you're talking about the Bears, who still currently sit in first place, or their opponent this week on Thanksgiving in the Green Bay Packers. Like, the margin of error just to be able to reclaim the division first and foremost is not as, clear, is not a clear road as it was at the beginning of the offseason.
Jeremy, I have to say it. I'm itching like a radio host werewolf right now. I think Thursday's Thanksgiving Day game against the Packers might be a must win for the division.
No, I mean, maybe if you're talking division, I would still say probably not. Every single team that is in contention for the NFC North has a brutal schedule ahead, and the teams are going to beat up on each other a fair amount. It's a big game, no doubt. Like the Lions go from
will they? Will the Bears beat up on the Packers in either of those games? I have a feeling the Packers are better than the Bears.
I don't know, man. None of these teams are playing definitively good football right now. None of them. Which is why I think we need to look in the mirror here and say, like, okay, yeah, the Lions are struggling. Yeah, so are the Packers putting up points. So are the Bears stopping anyone on defense, or, putting out teams that they should put out, right? they haven't played a particularly tough schedule, and so I mean we're getting ahead of ourselves. We haven't even talked about the game right now, but I think maybe everyone is just more eager to talk about the big picture, and I understand that, but I don't know, like, yeah, if the Lions lose against the Packers, suddenly it becomes a pretty heavy climb down the final 5 weeks of the season, but you're a game and a half back. That's it. That's easy to overcome in 5 weeks. We could see that definitely happening with the Packers still having to play. I mean, I don't know their schedule right off my head, but like one of the toughest schedules remaining on the board. So I'm not ready to jump to any conclusions in week 13, just like I wasn't in week 12, just like I'm not in week 11. But you know, if you want to declare Thursday must win, if you want to throw all of your emotions into one Thanksgiving game, go for it. But with a month and a half of football left after that, I'm not doing that.
That's fair. I think before we probably jump into that conversation, which we can definitely do in the second segment of this podcast, we definitely should just talk about what happened yesterday, which I think is what's kind of spurring this initial conversation of like what could potentially happen down the road. Is that I think a game that a lot of fans went into expecting this to be fairly one-sided in favor of the Lions turned out to be a straight up dogfight. Jameis Winston's out here kind of turning back the clock a little bit, making some big time throws. The offense is kind of sputtering. There was a number of things happening in this game. Jeremy, I'll start with you first and foremost. What was just one of your biggest takeaways from this game that didn't necessarily pan out the way I think a lot of fans expected it to?
I mean, I think it was the Lions' pass defense, right? The first and foremost, letting Jameis throw for nearly 400 yards of offense. The first time the Lions have given up a 300-yard passer this season, and they go for 366 for Jameis. You know, I think the most frustrating part of the day is he only completed 50% of his passes, but he averaged 10.2 yards per attempt because it was just explosive play after explosive play after explosive play. And that, you know, for everything that we've seen good from this secondary, good from this pass defense this year, the one problem that they've had pretty much all season are those explosive plays. They've given up now 21 passing plays of 30 plus yards, which is the most in the NFL by I think 3. There were 6 in this game, 6 30-plus yard plays from the Giants passing offense. Now, if you want to do what I like to do here, and let's just say I don't know, the Lions play a trick play well, or Jameis Winston throws a moon ball that actually gets knocked down. If we took away all 6, which is admittedly gross and not fair, he goes 15 of 33. I'm sorry, he goes 12 of 30 for 143 yards and 1 interception with a 41 passer rating. But even if you just take away the top 3, the 42-yarder, 40, and the 39, he goes 15 of 33 for 245, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 68.4 passer rating. I say this not to say that the Lions had a good pass defense day. They didn't. And they're continuing to have these issues of giving up big plays, and we can't just erase them, particularly because it's been a problem that has continued. But there's also a little bit of unluckiness that happened in that game that I think it's that to the point where the Giants threw the kitchen sink at the Lions and the Lions couldn't stop any of the kitchen sink. And it felt like the Lions were going to pull out of that nosedive so many times in that game where it was just like they got into a favorable down and distance. They got into a, you know, before the Jameis went, before one of the trick plays, they should have gotten off the field, right? It was a 3rd and 7 stop, but Hutchinson jumped off sides, right? There were all these opportunities that the Lions defense put themselves into good positions, and then when it really mattered, they didn't make a play. And that was frustrating to see. But again, like that is at this point in the season, that's not enough of an anomaly where I can just throw it out either. So I think the inconsistency of playing really good on 1st and 2nd down and playing really good, you know, getting yourself into really good opportunities defensively and then blowing it is just something that I get so dang frustrated with this defense. And I don't know what the answer is. Maybe it's just better 3rd down coaching, better 3rd down play calls, whatever it is. But you can't let Wan'Dale Robinson and Jameis Winston do that to you.
Okay, so let's start there because I agree. I think the pass defense was a huge takeaway, and you could be getting Terrion Arnold back sooner rather than later. Some people might scoff at the idea that he's going to make the pass defense better. But you hope that he's going to make this pass defense better because, Jeremy, to your point, and we keep on talking about this all year long, and I know Meko was talking a little bit about, you know, Dan Campbell's comments in the press conference where he was like, well, maybe that's just who we are. Like at this point in the season, it's not so uncharacteristic for this Lions team to get themselves into third and favorables on defense and then to blow it.
Yep.
JJ McCarthy had his best game as an NFL quarterback, maybe ever, maybe in his entire career, and we are
He threw for
looking
like
down the road.
150 yards in that game.
But it was like the 3rd and 9s and the 3rd
Sure,
and 7s
yes.
where the Lions were getting into position to tee off on a quarterback who was his 3rd NFL start.
Yeah.
And like this isn't so uncharacteristic of this team. Like I even felt like there were moments in the Chiefs game where the Lions got into favorable
Sure.
down and distance against the Chiefs and they couldn't make things happen. And I think it's as much as it is the back end, I also think that I don't know what pressures are anymore. And I don't know how much pressures mean unless they're happening in a hurry. Like you look around the league, like you watch that Rams game last night. The time to pressure matters.
Yep.
Like the time to pressure matters. And the Lions have the second slowest pass rush in the NFL, according to NFL Pro, like right behind the Bears at like 2.9 seconds average, like time to quarterback. Like that's I think that is also playing a big part in this, Meko, is that like the Lions can't get pressure on quarterbacks quickly enough just because it is like a hallmark of like who they are. Like that's how they want to attack the passer. And like for good, bad, or indifferent, I think it kind of goes to Jeremy's point too, though. Like maybe Jameson Winston doesn't catch that pass. Maybe Jameson Winston, maybe the back end of that defense actually, doesn't let Wan'Dale Robinson scamper by them, unfazed. Maybe one of those two plays doesn't happen and the game looks a little bit differently in a game where the Lions were 14.5-point favorites. But I think that there's some like greater disconnect between like the defensive front's ability to get pressure and the back end to hold up in coverage long enough that like it's just creating these opportunities for offenses to stay on the field against them.
Yeah, I'll take what you were saying a step further. I think the first play that was like a flea flicker that Jameis threw to Wan'Dale Robinson for a touchdown. Like if Aleem McNeil, or I believe it was Aleem or it was either Tyleek Williams, if they're able to get that pressure a little bit quicker, like that's a sack or at least a hit on the arm, and that pass probably isn't easily completed. The pass to Jameis Winston, again, another opportunity to sack the passer in that situation. There's a Lions defender within arm's reach, and yet it that little bit of delay allows Derek Barnes to have a misstep, and now Jameis Winston is wide open. Those are the small missteps. And I think to both of your point, like, yes, this is a chronic issue that the Lions have kind of had all season. I do feel like yesterday, though, it was highlighted by just some sloppiness in areas that I'm not used to the Lions being that sloppy. Like I'm used to when they do get pressure in a passer's face, that those are usually incomplete passes, that they usually are able to get significant hits to be able to disrupt plays. I'm not used to Amik Robertson allowing that much separation in crossing routes and basically being beat in those situations. There were a number of things that happened in that game where it just didn't feel like Lions football. And there were a number of situations where like I did kind of question Kelvin Shepard probably for the first time this year on like the initial game plan to send that much pressure at Jameis Winston. Like this is still a veteran quarterback. Yes, he did have the 30 for 30 season, but he is still a guy that has shown that he can make big plays. And I don't feel like the Lions respected that very much, Jeremy, yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hate to bring it back to like some of this thing is fluky, but like some of that stuff was very fluky. Like they were inches away from a sack here and there. The 3rd and 17, completion was extremely fluky where you almost have Al-Qadim Muhammad get the sack. You almost have Aiden Hutchinson getting a sack, and then they run into each other, and Jameson throws up a prayer where, I mean, Alex Anzalone, for whatever reason, just stopped following his receiver that he was in good coverage on, and it was too much for Thomas to come from the other side of the field and get there in time. I don't think they underestimated Jameis Winston. I certainly don't think they underestimated the Giants, because the Giants have taken pretty much everybody to the brink, and they've beaten two really, really good teams. And so, again, like, I'm not going to beat the Lions up over, like, oh my God, this was a 2-10 team. Like, yeah, this is a 2-10 team that almost beat the Packers. Yes, this is a 2-10 team that beat the Eagles. This is a 2-10 team that beat the Chargers. This is a 2-10 team that just takes everyone to the brink. They're a hard team. They're a better team. Like, they have a good offensive line. They can run the football. They couldn't run it this game. Jameis Winston, yes, veteran. I don't think they underestimated him. I don't. I think Dan Campbell has too much respect for a guy like that to believe that there was this version of like the team that was just like, we didn't expect to be in a dogfight. All week they were saying they expected to be in a dogfight, and I don't know.
Yeah, but isn't it?
Go ahead.
I feel like it's easy to say that though. Like I think like even within the lines, like I do feel like I expect that from Dan every Monday or Tuesday, whatever they start talking about the next appointment. Dan has never shot down at an opponent and made it seem as if like, oh, this is just going to be a cakewalk. He always talks up every
Yeah.
opponent. So to me, that is slowly becoming coach speak to me. But I also look at what happened on the field, and it was sloppy football on the defensive side. Like it was it felt very nonchalant. It did not feel like guys were locked in. It did not feel like guys were executing at a high level. And I don't think that's just because like, oh, Jameis Winston just had a good game. I think yes, he did, but I also feel like there was just a number of sloppiness that I just was not expecting, and it just didn't seem like a team that was highly focused in that moment.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they were certainly sloppy. They were undisciplined at times, right? Where when plays did break down, they weren't sticking to their assignments. I won't doubt any of that. I just to call it a mentality thing is tough, right? I can't judge what's going on in their head because I don't know what's going on in their head. And again, like some of the stuff that we saw, some of the deep shots are things that we see too often. And I can't even call it uncharacteristic at this point. But I don't know. I don't know. I also think there's a little bit of overreaction just happening in general because the Giants do this to teams. They do.
Yeah, but to say they beat the Eagles, yeah, they beat the Eagles with Cam Scadaboo and Jackson Dart. Like this was Jameis Winston, Tyrone Tracy Jr. And it's no like knock on them, but like you can undoubtedly say like that's lesser talent. And I think if Jake Bates doesn't knock home a 59-yard field goal and the Lions lose this game 27-24, I think we feel a little bit differently about this game because like
we all seem pretty upset about this game still. I don't know if we feel that differently.
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, though, like Dan's early message to this team when they were starting to win games or even winning games when they were expected to win games and that you can't get in the business of grading wins in the NFL because at the end of the day, a win grades well, no matter what. I think there's a bit of that. I also wanted to share some optimism. Like maybe if Kirby Joseph plays in this game, like the defense looks a lot different. Like he's missed so much time. And over that time, the Lions defense hasn't been as opportunistic as they have been. Brian Branch isn't having the season that he has had in his first two seasons. So like with that step back in quality of play, DJ Reed just coming back, like his first game, like there's a lot of moving pieces in the secondary, right? Like the Legion of Whom was cool for the Tampa Bay game. Like it worked. And they've been tested now since then. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, like I'm going to stick by what I thought at the beginning of this season, at the end of last season, even when it's like the team, if it gets to the playoffs, that's all I want. I just want them to get to the playoffs. And I'm like, they are, after winning the game yesterday, one win closer, right? Like I feel a lot different. I think if they were 6-5 after dropping a game to New York and going at 7-4, like they still can reach my expectations of like, I want a healthy football team, relative speaking, going into the playoffs. Like I want to see the Lions, quote unquote, at their best. And maybe they'll get there. Maybe Kirby will get healthy. Maybe him and Brian being back there is going to help, fix a lot of the problems on the back end. Terry and Arnold, maybe he gets healthy, right? And they do get to the postseason with their healthy defense, which I still think can be the best defense in the NFL. But yesterday, it was a far cry from that. And there's a lot of things at play. Like bar none. That's my point. About the defense. We haven't got to the offense yet.
No. Just one last thing, because I want to get back to the pressure stuff, because this is where I think I philosophically might disagree with the Lions in general, because I think they're playing a risky game in today's NFL, where I think part of the like slow pressures is by design, right? They're always talking about like we want to be disciplined in our rush lanes. We want to make sure that we don't overrun the quarterback. We want to make sure that the pocket closes in slowly, rather than try to like overrun a quarterback and give him 70 yards to run. And then we trust our back end with all this man coverage. I get the idea behind that, but I think in today's NFL, with the rules the way they are, the reason why this team draws so many penalties is because when you're in man coverage like that and you're giving a quarterback a lot of time, they can throw deep on you. They can throw these deep shots that I'm just talking about all the time. And because the NFL is the way it is, you're either going to make that catch because it's a tough play for a corner to even if they're in phase, if the ball's underthrown, then you're going to run into the wide receiver. If the ball's over here where you're expecting it over there, it's going to be a lot easier for the receiver to adjust than you, especially if your back is turned to the play. And I think about this week's game against the Packers, and I'm like, what does that team like to do? Throw up prayers deep down the field. And I just wonder if this is the right strategy. This is the right way to go about things. And I understand the Lions are still a top 10 team in terms of sacks and pressures and all that sort of stuff, but they're also very prone to giving up all of these big plays through the air. And I don't think it's a coincidence that those two things happen at the same time, because they just need someone opposite Hutchinson that can give them some pressure, because I don't even know if we want to get into all the Hutchinson narrative stuff that came out of this game, because I think, again, a lot of it is way overblown. But the one thing that I think is relatively true is who else is stepping up? Who else is are we going to continue to throw Aleem McNeil on the edge? Because I think that doesn't work in terms of pass rush. I just don't. I understand you're doing it. You're putting him there because he's a good edge setter and he at least gives you a little bit of pass rush, whereas the other two guys that if you go Mohammed, you're like, okay, well, there's pass rush there, but there's no run stop. You want to go Wheat, great, he can stop the run, but he's giving you no pass rush. This is where I'm hoping, and admittedly, yes, this is a little bit Delulu, I understand, but this is where I'm thinking, please God, let Marcus Davenport last 2 months and play good, solid football, because I want him there, and more importantly, I want Aleem on the inside, where he can be a disruptor. He's the reason why Aiden Hutchinson had the sack to end the game. It was Aleem that caused the quarterback to go off the spot and kind of drew him right into Aiden's hands. And so that's what we need. And I don't know if it's coming or not.
No, I think that's a fair expectation. I think that is where I agree with you in the sense that it does feel like a dangerous game to play when you're allowing quarterbacks, specifically Jameis Winston in this game, had over 3 seconds to throw. That's a dangerous game. That's a dangerous amount of time to allow your corners to go out there and cover for that long, because that basically kind of tells you that these have to be a number of deep routes. And so I agree in the sense that they do need to get quicker pressure, but I think this is where, Ryan, I do look at Aiden Hutchinson, and I feel like that has been an adjustment in his game this year. I get that he's been coming back from the injury, but I am used to Hutch winning quickly more often than he has been this year, and that feels like something else that has kind of sapped some of the energy away from this defense this year.
I think you can see it in his game, though, right? The Lions should have been called for an encroachment penalty on Hutchinson on that final drive that the Giants had. He got called for one earlier in the game. He's clearly trying to make an effort to get a quicker jump to maybe alleviate any second help that's coming his way. Because, he is getting chipped. He is getting extra attention sent his way. And that's to Jeremy's point, where it's some of Al-Qadim Muhammad's numbers look really good on paper. And it's he needs to be winning these one-on-ones that he's drawing more consistently in order for me to think he's as good as he is in the box score when it comes to PFF stuff. So I think the other thing that you said, though, Jeremy, about potentially getting Davenport back, maybe you get Pascal back, and he's a guy who could play on the inside in pass rushing situations, and he's a guy who you trust in run defense. I don't know. I want to talk more about Hutchinson, I think, but the Kirby Joseph stuff, I think, cannot be overstated, because in the numbers, they're way more willing to play zone with Kirby on the field. And I think that's the adjustment that you can get between pass rush and getting to the quarterback and what you play on the back end and how you can mix it up on the back end when you have a guy you can trust his instincts to be in the right spot at the right time, where you might not do that with Thomas, right?
Sure.
I just think everything was going so well for the defense when everyone was healthy. And I think I underestimated Kirby Joseph. Like I truly think I underestimated Kirby Joseph because I didn't think that he
Yeah.
was the straw that stirred the drink by any means. And I think he deserves way more credit than he's getting because look at the time that he's missed and what the Lions have done over that time. It's
Right.
been shaky. It's
Right.
been
I mean,
shaky.
they're 3-3 in the past 6 games, right? And I think what's one thing you think about when you think Kirby Joseph? Picks, right? Like
Turnovers.
interceptions. The Lions have forced 4 turnovers in the last 6 games. The first 5 they had 9. So huge drop off, right? Like 9 in 5 games to 4 in 6 games. Like they're missing that. They could like it. You're talking about like a sputtering offense a little bit. You know what would help them out a lot? Righteous felt
Short
no
fields?
Interceptions. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
That would have been great.
Yeah, no, right. No, but yeah, I mean they need turnovers, and I know like this past game is probably a bad example because Thomas Harper finally gets them one, and they immediately go 3 and out and punt. But shorter fields, certainly giving them more opportunities, certainly giving the defense some more rest because it felt like they were out there for a heck of a long time against the Giants as well. Hey, but good job stopping the run. I mean, before we jump to the offense or before we jump to a break or whatever, like, can we at least give it up for the run defense who continues to ball out? Like, I know the Giants finished with 120 something yards, but that was on like 40 carries. They absolutely, again, like the reason why I think the Lions defense was in such favorable down and distances pretty much all game was because they were doing a phenomenal job on first and second down. There was nothing doing in the run game for the Giants.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying as far as about the defense being out there, I think they were out there for what, like 77 plays, Ryan. So I think you probably get an even better run defense performance if you're able to get off the field in more situations, or if the offense is able to extend some of those drives a little bit longer, which is something that we're definitely gonna have to talk about on the other side of the break because we spent this entire I did not expect us to take the first half of this podcast complaining about the defense and not give Jahmyr Gibbs any flowers, even though he's in the title of this podcast and in the thumbnail on YouTube. So we're definitely going to get to that. But before we get to it, I'm not even going to try and do like a cool transition. We're going to talk about Righteous Felon Craft Jerky right now because I think we all need something to maybe just like help level set us all. I think Craft Jerky could be the thing that puts a smile on everybody's faces. And thankfully, Righteous Felon or the Pride of Detroit podcast is brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. It's the jerky that fuels Pride of Detroit POD cast. Each 2-ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein, and each stick has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for the Lions, it's going to be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They use locally sourced all natural black Angus beef and prides itself on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. Again, guys, it's the holiday season, and I can't think of a better stocking stuffer, Jeremy, than Craft Jerky at this point. You get a couple meat sticks, you get some Foul Capone, you get some Maryland Monroe. Put that in the stocking for your dearest friend, someone that absolutely loves jerky, and I guarantee you they're going to be ecstatic. And luckily for you, if you go over to righteousfelon.com and use the promo code POD15 at checkout you can get 15% off your order. Again, that's promo code POD15 at righteousfelon.com. I promise you guys, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the offense. We're going to give Jahmyr Gibbs an entire flower shop worth of flowers because he is absolutely deserving of them after the performance he had yesterday. And yeah, we're going to talk about some of the struggles that the offense had as well, because we can't just talk about the good things. We got to talk about the things that are obviously wrong as well. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more right after this.
Okay. We are on break. Oops, you're not Morgan Cannon. Hold on. Boop, boop. There we go. And we don't need the Wheel of Pain. Get that out of here. We don't need to see that. We are $282 away from a Wheel of Pain spin. But we don't need to talk about that. Huh?
So not that anyone's counting.
Not that anyone's counting. Let me jump into some alerts here because we got a bunch. And then we can talk about whatever you guys want. Let's start. Soulful Break, 21 months subscribed on Twitch. Appreciate you, buddy. Cobra Steve, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Knoxville Lions fan, 40 months subscribed on Twitch. Soulful Break then came in with the $34 donation. Says, Jahmyr Gibbs is good at football, screw cancer. I can't disagree with either of those things. Lion's Blood, 52 months, says they fry some cheese on Thursday. That changed the conversation pretty quick. Let's hope so. HSW, 11 months, subscribed on Twitch, says if they lose this Thursday, I'm going to stab a turkey. Okay, now we're on the other end.
Context matters. Context, as always, matters.
That's right. Space Kataz, 46 months, says Subba Lubba Ding Dong. Gotcha. Thomas J. Hutchins, 33 months, says I hope the Bears are as fake as they look and the Packers continue to struggle. Yeah. Can't argue with that either. Ice Cecil, 49 months subscribed on Twitch. Madi, $34.27 donation to the University of Michigan Rogal Cancer Center, says, please write running backs matter on your face. Will do in a second here. Sly Stry, hey, thank you for the 45 months subscribed using that Twitch Prime. Spielman HOF, also with using the Prime, 35 months, says almost 3 years of the best Lions coverage anywhere. Thanks, POD. Hey, thanks for the 35 months of support. JPook, 35 months as well, using their Twitch Prime. State Nate, 59 months, not using their Twitch Prime, straight up subbing. Rise Beast, $2 super chat, says, turn off chat kind of night. I see. Thank you, guys. Hey, I get it. A lot of emotions out there, and I don't blame anybody. This is an emotional game. It's an emotional team. It's an emotional sport. Captain James Kirk, 20 bits, says, fun fact, the Lions' edge has the same number of sacks this year as Max Crosby. That edge? Muhammad. Fair, I guess. I actually thought Muhammad had a couple of really, really good pass rushes in this game, but probably too few and far between, if we're being honest. And it would be nice if he could just, hold an edge, too. Stay in the... if he were a more versatile player, he could play more and have more opportunities to pass rush as well.
I feel like the pass rush was there, but to the point that you made in the first segment, it was so slow.
Yeah. I feel
it was one of those things where I went back and watched the 19 pressures that NFL Pro says that the Lions had, and it's there's a dude there, but it's how much better would that pressure be if it was there a half second earlier?
Yeah. Or how much more would it actually affect the play?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, because a lot of those would have been sacks. I think that's the other thing too. You're talking about linebackers getting in Jameis Winston's face. You talk about whether it was Muhammad or Aleem or Hutch getting there. It's just finish the play.
Yeah. It's that's always the most frustrating part, where it seems like you do everything right and then you just can't take down the quarterback. Jed in Savannah, $25 donation, says F Cancer throwback to Meko joining the POD cast. Jeremy, write adequate adequate roast hole on your face. $34 from Austin Mammoth says, can Jeremy write fart in all caps on his chin, please?
You're up to 9 words on your face right now, I think.
Yeah.
You're about to look like Post Malone, bro.
Jeremy Reisman with a $34 donation says, don't write anything on your beautiful face. Thank you. Meko, 47 months subscribed to the channel, says, I haven't forgotten about the egg I need to smash on my head. I like that. Thank you. $34.27 donation from Ken Fletcher says, a win is a win. Let's get at the pack. Thank you for everything, guys. Can I get Ryan's most hated non-quarterback Packer on Jeremy's face? And I think we're caught up, so let me start writing.
My most non-hated...
Flip it again. Hold on.
Non-quarterback?
Non-quarterback.
So I can't say Malik Willis?
No.
Oh.
I think, no, it's a non-Packer guy that you hate, right?
There's just so many nons that I was like, is this a triple negative? What's going on?
Ryan's most hated non-QB Packer.
Okay.
So you hate him,
right.
but he's not
a
Packer quarterback. I'm going to...
All time?
For a second. Yeah, sure. I'm just going to flip the... horizontal. There we go. Now go back to off air. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty easy answer. It's Clay Matthews.
Okay.
Oh,
Because
that's
two
fair.
T's on his last name specifically.
What's he running from? What's he running from, huh?
I think you could throw AJ Hawk in that conversation as well.
Yeah, I could see that for some people, especially with him being an Ohio State guy. Clay Matthews always just seemed, I want to call him names, but I'm not going to call him names. Like
Low key, I liked Clay Matthews. Like as far as like just like as a player in terms of production, I thought the wet hair thing was cool for some reason.
I mean, you do have to wet your hair though. Like, I mean, wrestlers do it because it's way more intimidating looking that way.
I don't know. I've never had, long flowing hair like that.
Feel like the only guy who's made it work really well is Troy Polamalu. Like volume to
for sure.
effectiveness ratio.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Intimidating. Like that Head and Shoulders was intimidating.
Yeah. And it was like curly too. It wasn't just matted down and
Plus, he was just a guy who went about his business. Like I hated Clay Matthews' touchdown celebration where he did the whole like the squat and the thing.
oh
You know what I'm
yeah,
talking
he
about?
did. Yeah.
Like I hated that. I thought it was such a dumb celebration. Like, what are you
That entire team had
are you an X-Men supervillain? Like, what are you doing?
that entire team though had like really bad celebrations.
Oh,
His
the
Rogers with the discount
double
check.
check. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not good. Did find it funny that like all the Lions celebrations, all their touchdown celebrations were former Giants celebrations, which I was like, wow.
Yeah.
The fact that you guys
I
are
love
willing
the
to,
salsa. Yeah, the salsa was really good.
yeah, I didn't know Jahmyr's was an OBJ celebration until like I think I went on Instagram and they were like showing them side. I'm like, oh, okay, like
I'll be honest, I didn't know they were doing that either. So that's really cool. Like I recognized the Victor Cruz one. And I was like, oh, that's like maybe Amon-Ra paying homage to a guy that he maybe looked up to growing up or something like that. But the Jahmyr, that's cool. Like they should do that every week. Like they're like that's a cool way
Yeah.
to take digs at like the opposing team is like use their own sallies against them. That's genius.
for a second I thought that said Clay Mathis on Jeremy's cheek.
That's close. That's good.
Oh boy.
It's good enough.
The fart is really pronounced. Like you did a good job on that. Like
Yeah.
it stands out.
Thank you, Jeremy. Your first bite, your prediction was 110% accurate, but you short slid yourself on the post game POD. Guess you may not have expected a big James game, but your prediction nailed the big plays close game. I don't think I said that this. I thought I went back and looked at my first bite prediction. I thought I said. What did I say?
Did you say the Lions would outrush them by like 200
No.
yards or something like that?
No, that was a previous week. I forgot. I saw it. I'm like, man, I just missed it. I don't remember.
Do you remember what mine was?
Oh, I said the Lions
super-
were going to hang 40 this week. That's
Oh,
what I
yeah,
said.
yeah. That's what you said. Mine was that if the Lions limit the Giants to less than like 3 explosive plays, that they would beat them by 2 scores. So I think I'm right.
You're technically right.
That
I mean,
feels
there were
very much like predicting a tie and getting a win. So I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to accept it.
In my PODD written thing, I put out five things that I need to see. One was the running game dominate, which they did.
Check.
One was to have a plan for Brian Burns. 0 quarterback hits. I think that's a
Penei
check.
Sewell. That was the plan.
Yeah, I guess that's all it took. Hold on, I have to. One of them was limit explosives, which was a clear non-check, but obviously something that I was worried about. What was the other two? A takeaway or two. you met the bare minimum there, so sure. And then third down success, which they were 5 of 12, which is fine. It's not great. It's not terrible. But like I mentioned, they were, I think it was 4 for 4 on third and 6 or shorter. So they converted every third and manageable. They were not great on third and long. I think the only third and long they converted was the screen pass to Amon-Ra for the touchdown on a third and goal from the 11.
Yeah.
Dude, Big Aries, that I think that's the thing I want most out of the season now that you just suggested that. That would be ecstasy.
If the Lions did the Super Bowl shuffle in a game that denies the Bears a playoff spot.
Week 18. Lions hit the Super Bowl shuffle on like a Kirby Joseph pick 6. Are you kidding me? That would be one of the best moments ever. Smash cut to Ben Johnson's face on the sideline if that were to happen, because HBO Max is putting out a documentary about the Super Bowl shuffle.
I didn't know.
So, dude, that would be.
I didn't know that either.
Somebody pass that along to them.
Yeah, on the next Amon-Ra podcast, everyone just flood the YouTube comments with, "You guys have to do the Super Bowl shuffle." Oh wait, no, I forgot. I'm sorry. We're mad at Amon-Ra for podcasting now, I think. So never mind. Don't do that.
I wouldn't say we're mad at him.
Oh, there are people that are mad at him. 1,000%. I want search Amon-Ra on podcast and look at all the tweets you'll find from yesterday.
I think I like the explanation that he's cursed since doing a specific dance, but we won't get into that.
I just like, he's been doing the podcast for 3 years now. What are we doing here? I'm sorry. We should not even be like entertaining those fringe opinions.
Well, I think the most wild one is what Meko mentioned. Like, the people talking about tanking for an offensive lineman.
Right.
Like, buddy, what are we doing here? Like, what?
That is wild.
That's insane. Like,
yeah.
I didn't get the opportunity to like be on this podcast after the Eagles game, but I will say with 100% honesty, I felt better after the Eagles loss than I did feel after the Giants win.
I did too. I did.
I think that's a totally fair thing to say walking out of those two games.
Yeah.
Like, I was pissed. Like, that game ended and I was like, it was a mixture between like relief, frustration. Yeah, relief and frustration. Because like, it's like, oh great, like Job did his thing in overtime. Hutch gets the sack that I wanted him to get. Wasn't the strip sack I wanted, but still ended the game.
Yeah. And they won, right? And they won.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, I think like I'm at the point now, and I think a number of people are here as well, or I'm curious to know if a number of people are here as well, but it's like, I'm happy when they win. I want them to win rather than lose. But I do think we have reached a point in this franchise where like I have expected a certain level of play. Not saying they have to be perfect, but like consistency matters. And when like the offense is sputtering and the defense isn't getting consistent stops, like that's what frustrates me more than like whether it's good or bad play. It's not consistent play, and that's what I've come to expect from this team.
Sure. But what has consistent play in the regular season gotten them? I mean, that was kind of Dan Campbell's point though today, right? It was like, yeah, we've done this before and we've played really good in the regular season, and then we got bounced in our first playoff game. Maybe just scrapping by can work for us. Or maybe, I mean, obviously, I think he started that question with saying like, listen, we want to be better in all three phases. We're going to try to continue to get better in all three phases, but they're flawed teams in the NFL. They're probably 31 flawed teams in the NFL right now. And I'm not saying the Rams are perfect, but the Rams are playing pretty freaking good football right now. And I don't know, like, is there a team right now that you just like, you think they're ready for playoff football outside of the Rams? Honestly.
I mean, but I don't think that's like, I don't know if that's the right way of looking at it. Because like, it's not me looking at other teams and being like, why aren't they playing like them? It's why aren't they playing up to the standard that they have set for themselves? It's not a like to me, it's not a comparison to the rest of the league. It is you as an organization have established a mandate that like, hey, we play complementary football, we play consistently, and I don't think consistency has to be 15-2. 50, like that's what that led to last year, but like I don't
Right.
think that defense was consistent week in and week out last year.
No, it
They
wasn't.
just they found ways of winning. I think, but the offense was consistent, and so like it's that's why I say like it's fine if you lose games because I can sit back and be like, oh, well, that Eagles team was better that week. Oh, the Green Bay Packers just kind of caught you, with the new offensive line that hasn't really gelled. Like, there's enough things to look at in some of those losses and be like, okay, like that makes sense. When you're not playing consistent football down in and down out, that's where I have a problem because
But you just said they weren't doing that
that's
last
how
year
you end
either.
up in a game. I said the defense wasn't.
Okay. I mean, there were times when the offense wasn't either. Obviously, the offense was a lot better last year than this year. I'm not going to try to defend that, but the offense is different now. Like they're gonna have to win in different ways, right? I don't think anyone would say otherwise, right? The offense isn't what it was last year, and you can say that's because of coaching, you can say that's because of play calling, you can say that's because of the offensive line, but I mean, maybe you want to even throw Sam Laporte into that conversation now, but I guess my point is like we're not that team anymore. We aren't the team that's going to win the same way we did last year, so they have to figure out some better ways, and if you pull some from the offense and you add some to the defense, like that can still be a winning formula. They've won with their defense a couple times this year. Well, they certainly didn't last night, but I mean, I don't know. I guess it still seems like there's an expectation for this team to be perfect. It feels that way.
I no, and I get how it feels that way, but it's like it's hard to say like, hey, I want this team to play consistently without it sounding like I want them to be perfect. I don't I understand that there's a team on the other side that's trying to stop you from doing the things that you're doing. And
Yeah.
that's why, like, I think that's why for like most of the season, like when we've talked about the offense not looking great, we've put so much blame on the offensive line. Like that's knowing that, like, hey, there is a flaw in the
Mm-hmm.
system, right? Like this isn't the same offensive line. That's understandable. Those kinks are going to get worked out. I'm used to this. Like it's kind of like the question that Justin Rogers asked today, where it's like, hey, you guys are now so many games after the bye. Do you feel like you're getting better? Do you feel like you guys are like progressing in a way and like to the point where Dan does give that answer of like, well, maybe this is just who we are. Like I can accept that as the reality, but it doesn't mean that it feels good to hear that.
Sure. Oh, it doesn't, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're playing championship level football right now. They're not. They need to be better. They need to. They need to find some sort of rhythm on offense. They certainly need to cut down on the big plays on defense, but I think we're also a little quick to overlook some of the defining features of this team that can carry them far. The fact that they can stop the run on defense pretty damn consistently. The fact that they do have a couple of game changers on defense that are capable of explosive plays. And one thing that I thought was interesting that Dan Campbell said today that hadn't really occurred to me is that when that game was on the line, they did play complementary football. They did do all the things they needed in all three phases to win that football game. They came up with the fourth down stop on defense. They drove and kicked a field goal, a long field goal. Special teams helping out at the end of regulations. The defense then stopped like that. Amik pass breakup at the end of regulation was huge. And then offensively, you go out there and you win the game in overtime, and you get the last stop you needed on defense. And yes, they waited until the final 2 minutes of the game for the offense, the defense, and special teams to finally line up. But I think maybe this is the source of both the frustration and the optimism is that we've seen all the pieces work together this year. We've seen the offense work at times, both the run game and the pass game. We've seen the pass rush work at times. We've seen the secondary ball out. We've seen the special teams ball out. But it's so infrequent that all of them are kicking at the same time, right? Like I think we can all agree with that. And that's certainly I think part of the frustration is just like when is the offense, the defense, and special teams all Just like even one game. Is there a single game where all those are working together? And the answer is probably no. And that's where it's really frustrating because you know it's in there. You know somewhere deep inside they can do it. And yes, opponent matters, right? Like of course your defense can look really good against, I don't know, Bengals through three quarters. And of course your run game can look good against a Giants team that ranks 32nd in every single run category. But still, like, it's so damn frustrating when you know it can work and it just hasn't all together at once.
Maybe that's the best way of saying it then. Because like I think that is definitely like how I feel in terms of like where my frustration lies, is that like I feel like this team, if they were clicking on all cylinders, would be playing at a much higher level. And the fact that it's not happening is what's frustrating. I say like I guess I phrased it that way because I do feel like we're getting to a point too where like people feel like, well, they can't criticize. Like to your point earlier where you were like, well, maybe this is just who they are. It's like that is true. Like that may be the truth of the matter. This offensive line is nowhere near as good as it was last year. The play calling has not been up to par as it has been in past seasons. That's a reality. But I feel like there's always this tug of war between like accepting what's real and then like still having expectations. And it's like I can accept what's real, but that doesn't mean that I should have to lower my expectations either. Not that I'm saying that you're saying I have to.
Yeah, of course
I'm
not.
just saying.
No, I get what you're saying, and to be clear, I'm not saying no one can be no one, like, you can be frustrated, you can expect better, you probably should do all of those things. I think the part where I just think it's a bridge too far is where it's just like, I don't know, this idea that the Lions are they're terrible, right? They're terrible. There's no way they can turn it around. They're I mean, are they as good as they were last year? I don't know. They're certainly not as good offensively, and I think they're probably better defensively, right? They're not the same. And I think there has been a sort of built-in expectation that they're not meeting on offense, and because that's how they were winning most games, it leaves people thinking they're a lot worse. But I don't know. It's tough. They're just, to me, they're just a really hard team to figure out.
I think that kind of speaks to your point, though, about like other teams in the NFC or even the NFL at large, right? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like there's a lot of teams that have their glaring set of warts. But I guess with the Lions, to your point as well, when it all aligns and when all three phases are working together, they're a pretty darn good football team.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if you can say that about a lot of teams, right? It's like, oh, if we're going to get the best Packers offense and the best Packers defense, like we're going to be fine. If the Eagles don't, decide to cough up a fumble and then,
Another one,
a muff punt, you know what I mean? Like that's, it's, I don't know. Like, I guess that is why it brings me back to how I felt at the beginning of the season, and especially at the end of last season, where it's like, I don't care, just like get in. I don't care if you're 11-6, like just get into the playoffs, and then it's just like all bets are off, right? Like just pray that you don't run into the Rams in the first two rounds, however that ends up working out. But the one quick thing I wanted to say about Aiden is that, like, I've noticed, I ran some numbers real quick, but like he has averaged more pass rush snaps over the past 6 games, and that coincides with like Kirby not being, being in, and he's averaging like 37 and a half pass rushing snaps per game. Over the course of that stretch, like he has less sacks in those 6 games than he did in the first 5 games. Which, okay, I mean, it's like stringy at best, but I'm just saying, like, I think the Lions could mix things up more on the back end, and they don't have to be so predictable by playing man all the time. And if you get a quarterback reading the defense wrong on the back end, there's an opportunity for a sack to get there for a pass rush that isn't as fast and is more like collapsing and crushing than it is like get off based. So I don't know. I just hope he comes back. Like that's the thing I'm maybe most frustrated with right now is like the guy wasn't put on IR, and it's 6 weeks later. And I know it might be like, well, we were more optimistic about it, or we didn't want to run the risk of that. But it's like, I don't know. Would it have helped to have like another healthy guy on the team rather than this?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to fault them too much. Like I'm not gonna beat them up about it, but like I do feel frustrated about it.
Of course.
In some sense of like, man, just like
It's
just let us know if he's like going to play or not.
right.
Yeah.
He will for sure. It's this delicate balance that I think they're playing too of like this is an injury that just needs to calm down, right? They don't want to re-aggravate it. They don't want to put him out there at risk of turning a 6-week injury into a season ender. And let's save him for the games. Let's save him and let's save him for the game that matters. This whole like we don't need to be playing our best football now. We need to be playing it in December and January. But like you're getting closer and closer to like being on the brink of must-win games at this point, and you're just like, okay, do we need him for this game against a very important game against the Packers? Can we survive a loss to the Packers and still bring him back and be fine? I don't know the answers to these questions. I was really hoping he'd be ready this week against the Packers, but starting on the injury report as a no practice during walkthroughs seems like a not a
great sign.
No. So yeah, and it's Kirby, and then you also get to the point of like, okay, well, when he comes back, probably gonna be rusty. It's been a month and a half. It's been 2 months since he's been out there and even practiced. So are you gonna have to ease him in like you're doing to DJ Reed, or you're like, you know what, this guy's a veteran, let's just throw him out there, he's gonna be ready and be fine. I don't know. But if not for the Packers, I would sure love some secondary help against a pretty damn good Cowboys passing offense.
Yeah.
And I like it even more against the Packers offense that just throws prayers up and, have Kirby come from one hash mark, catch it at the other hash mark.
Use that freaky athleticism to just cover both sides of the field solo.
I think part of the inconsistency stuff that really bothers me with the Lions too is just it's the third down stuff on both sides of the ball, right? Like, how can this team be so good on first and second down defensively and so crappy on third and longs? Like, they're better. It feels like they're better on third and short than they are on third and long defensively, which it just doesn't make sense. And then it's kind of the same on offense. Like, they get into third manageables all the time. They're one of the best teams on first and second down, yet one of the worst teams on third down. And it's just like, that doesn't make sense to me. That's the thing where I kind of cling to, where I'm like, this is eventually just going to statistically settle. Like, there's going to be some positive regression there. There's no way the Lions can continually still give up third and longs at a 50% rate. And there's no way that the Lions are going to continually suck on 3rd and 5 and 4.
But to your point, maybe it can happen if they don't like change things fundamentally, right? About like how they approach those situations. Like maybe if there isn't any budging, then maybe it doesn't change as much as you'd want it to change.
Yeah. Right. Yes. And I do think third down is going to continue to be an issue offensively without Sam Laporta, right? Like that's a big punch to the gut, and we'll talk more about the offense on the other end. But like that's the thing that worries me, maybe me more than anything, is that it feels like the pass game doesn't have answers right now. They have answer, but not answers.
Is the answer Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, and I felt like the Lions had like overcome that hurdle in the Commanders game when like Jamo was getting so involved.
Right. And this is the part where we become a little bit a prisoner of the moment, and we overreact to one game because like Jamo was in the midst of like one of the best 3-game stretches of his career going into this game, and he has one bad one, and then we're like, what's going on? Who else can we throw to? It's just Amon-Ra. Like I'm doing an impression of myself 10 seconds ago, to be clear.
Nobody knows that better than Meko, Jeremy. The run that Jameson Williams was on.
Right. That's true.
Literally.
I was so glad Meko will have to run a mile. Hey, I don't want to hear it. You got to eat more nuggets. Like,
dude, I got it worse this past game, all right?
Jeremy had it the worst.
Jack Fox, that asshole, pinned 4 inside the 10, and then Jake Bates made a 50-yard field goal. I got 50 up downs from that game alone.
Dude, I was chilling. I was giddy as hell.
I love seeing Jahmyr take that handoff at the beginning of overtime to the house. Be like, all right. I was like, my day's done. I got to worry
How much
about
did it
anything.
piss? How much did it piss you off though when it's like they're at the 2 yard line and they decide to throw a what like a flare route out to him?
Dude, and like Jimmy, what an incredible we got to talk about the offense. We got to put that where the money is. We're going to talk about that in the second segment. But I don't know how long we're going to stick around after the second segment, and I don't know if we would even get to like playoff picture or
Yeah,
like
we should at least a little bit, and maybe talk Packers and stuff like that, and just I mean we kind of
yeah.
already did that maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hang too long because I know a lot of people are probably
Yeah.
going to watch Monday Night Football, and the Lions could be in a playoff spot by the end of the night.
Go Panthers, man.
Go Panthers!
Like that might be if they win the NFC South, what's going on with Baker? Is like Baker hurt or no?
I don't. I think someone
Oh,
said
I don't know.
there was a report out there that the MRI wasn't as bad as
They expected it to be.
they were concerned about. Yeah, but it's also his non-throwing shoulder, so I don't know. Nah, the Bucks are sliding fast.
That's what I mean, though. Like, if the Panthers can pull off winning the NFC South, like they may be the worst team to ever win a division in the NFL's history.
Well, I don't know. We've had some like what 7 and 9 teams win.
That Seahawks team would drag them. Marshawn Lynch would drag them.
Right. I mean, but like, think of the difference though of being. This is where like it's a little silly sometimes to be, because I think this is going to be a deep playoff. You kind of want to be that 5 seed if that's what happens, right? You'd almost rather be the 5 seed than be maybe even the 3 seed and having to face the 6 seed. Like let's say the Seahawks are, let's say the Rams win the NFC West, the Seahawks are the 5 seed, the let's say the Lions are the 6 seed, and I don't know, 49ers are the 7 seed. Like that's tough for a lot of teams, but like I lost the point I was trying to make. I'm sorry.
No, I think because like say the Rams they get the number 1 seed, right? Then you're looking at 2, 3, 4. That's going to be some mixture of, well, it's probably going to be the Eagles. I think at 2. I think they'll probably end up likely staying at 2. And then it's going to be the winner of the NFC North, and then whoever wins the NFC South.
Yeah.
So like 2's going to play 7, right? 3's going to play 6, and 5's going to play 4.
Right.
If the Lions don't win the division, and it's either the Bears or the Packers in the 3 spot, like they're going to play them in the first round.
Good, yeah.
Like I would rather play probably one of those 2 teams, or ideally you go for that 5 seed, because if you get to play the Panthers in the first round,
right?
I mean, I don't know about the field conditions.
The 5 seed is ideal.
We would have to talk about the field conditions, because like we might have to be played at a neutral venue. Dave Tepper, that cheap son of a
man.
But like, can you imagine the lead up to that game? But I to your point, Jeremy, I get what you're saying. Like to be a highly seeded wild card team, better than being the 3 seed. Maybe we're like just talking ourselves into this.
Maybe. I don't know. Either way, you've just now brought up the high probability of an NFC team playing an NFC team in the first round of the playoffs, and like I thought I knew stress over the past 2 years.
A divisional. Can you imagine the Lions and Bears play week 18 and then play
and then
the following week?
Play in the wild card? Oh Lord. No,
I mean, it's not going to happen. Like the Bears aren't going to make the playoffs.
Are we still feeling that way?
Yes, dude. I still think they're bad. They barely beat Mason Rudolph at home in a game they should have walked them. Like, I be truthful and be honest with this schedule rundown. They play the Eagles on Friday.
Loss.
At Philadelphia. Is that a loss?
That's a loss.
It's a loss. Then they go at Green Bay.
I don't
Should
know.
be
That
that
is a
should be a
toss up,
loss.
but I would probably lean loss. It should be.
Should be a
We'll
loss.
say loss. So they're at
Okay.
8-5 now.
8-5. Versus Cleveland. It's a game they should win.
They'll win that.
Could Miles Garrett change that game in a heartbeat? He
Yeah,
could,
Miles Garrett could be looking to set the sack record in that game.
I mean,
but
he hasn't-
give
he
him the
hasn't-
win, right? Give him the win.
Yeah, I was gonna say he hasn't changed many games as good as he's been.
Well, now they got Shador.
Oh, sorry,
So,
Shadur's the savior at this point. I forgot.
I saw the question
quarter-
on Danny Kelly, the podcast he does, where they're like, all right, you're starting an NFL franchise today, and you have to pick one of these two quarterbacks. I'm glad that the light shut off because this is spooky. Do you pick Shador Sanders or JJ McCarthy? Go.
I don't want to.
The one thing about the Bears, man,
Bryce Young.
hold on.
The answer is I choose Bryce Young.
he going off the board.
I was gonna say the only thing with like Shador that I could like probably like put some cope into that is just to be like, I mean, JJ's been getting first team snaps this entire time, and this is what he looks like. Shador apparently hasn't been. So like, what does he look like with an off season of first team snaps?
What does he look like after a whole end of the season with Josina Anderson tweets gassing him up? Like,
Justina Anderson, Stephen A. Smith, any. You know what? I'm gonna stop right there.
The thing that kills me about the Bears more than anything, even more than like the late game heroics, is just I know at its core that defense is trash. And they're just
Yes.
being propped up by turnovers. And at some point that well is going to run dry and everything should settle down. But it just hasn't been happening yet. It's
Okay.
It's the Vikings all over again, and it's so freaking frustrating.
we're at 9-5. We're at 9-5 with Cleveland because they lose to Philadelphia, they lose to Green Bay, they beat Cleveland. They get to 9-5. Their final three games are versus Green Bay at home, at San Francisco versus Detroit. There's three games if they're at 9-5. What do they do in those final three games? Because I feel like you need to get to 11 wins in the NFC to like guarantee yourself a playoff spot.
Yeah, they have to go 2-1 in that stretch.
Yeah.
So they have to go 2-1 against Green Bay, San Francisco, Detroit. Three teams that have like playoff experience. And you can at least make an argument that like none of those defenses are doo-doo.
Yeah. I mean, the good news there is that in those 2 weeks, there will be two losses between the Bears, Packers, and 49ers.
Well, no more ties, Packers.
No more time. Right. Especially since the Lions currently don't have the head-to-head tiebreaker. Let's make sure that tiebreaker doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, hey, dude, speaking of tiebreakers, did you see what the 49ers conference record is already at this point in the season? 7-2?
Yeah.
They're 7-4. Their two losses are their other two losses are to AFC teams.
Let's drop it to 7-3 tonight, all right?
Dude, keep pounding.
Let's go Panthers.
Keep pounding.
Is that their thing?
Yeah. Cowboys are making the playoffs too, by the way. Just want to let you know that. Cowboys are going to take the Bear spot.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There's another spot to beat. So if the Cowboys are taking the Bears spot, how are the Lions getting in? Taking the 49ers spot?
No, the Buccaneers aren't going to make the playoffs.
Okay, but that just replaces the Panthers. That doesn't create another spot for the Lions.
No, because of no. Hold on, math.
You've replaced the Panthers. You've the Bucks with the Panthers,
Okay, so
and you've replaced
the
the Bears with the Cowboys. That still doesn't have a spot for the Lions.
Yeah, it does because the Lions win the division.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the Packers are out.
No, the Bears come out. The Lions go in. The Bears would take the Lions spot, right?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
In theory.
Okay. How do the Cowboys get in?
Hold on. Here are going to be your three wild card teams. Ready?
Okay.
The Packers,
Yeah.
the Seahawks,
Uh-huh. So you're kicking the 49ers out.
yeah. 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 Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm kicking the 49ers out. Even though that's not going to happen. So it's got to be one of the other teams.
This
Like
is the
the
problem, Ryan. Like I agree that the Cowboys are playing like they are a threat. I'm not taking that game for granted with the Lions. But they have a
especially
mountain
with
to
their run
climb.
defense.
The problem is
Ever since they got Quinnen Williams.
they have an absolute mountain to climb right now. Their schedule is also really hard in what they're 5-5-1, so they can only get to 11 wins, and that is if they play perfect football.
Yeah.
I want to look at their schedule. Here's the thing. I mean, I'm being honest. Like, the team's playing really inspired.
Sure.
What happened could have totally galvanized them. But, like, also, beyond that, their offense was legitimately good.
Yeah.
Like, borderline, top,
Yes.
5 or 6 in the NFL?
Sure. They got the Chiefs on Thursday.
Yeah.
They got,
I mean, I feel like they have a fairly. I was gonna say, yeah.
the problem is they can't lose 2 games.
Go ahead.
2 games and they're done. So they can't. I mean, they could lose 2 games by next Thursday because they have the Chiefs and the Lions, and they got the Chargers waiting for them too.
The Chiefs game is at home. Jerry Jones is paying for that win. I'm sorry, Kansas City.
Home cooking. Home cooking on Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Absolutely. So, all right, say they win the Chiefs game. They drop the Lions game. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They drop the Lions game. Lions win. I could see them winning out.
Sure.
Minnesota, Chargers, Washington, Giants.
Yeah.
So, like, you at 10-6-1. The thing about the 49ers schedule is that, in theory, if they win tonight, they should sleepwalk to 10-4, right? Like, they should win their next 3 games. They should be 10-4. But after that, like, their schedule, it gets hard. And they have to play Seattle for the final game of the season. Like, and by hard, I mean
Colts, Bears, Seahawks.
They should do some beating up. Right, they play the Bears, so like that's going to help the Lions too.
Yep.
But I don't know. Like, yeah, the 49ers should make the playoffs. But if they lose tonight to Carolina, I don't know. Like, I think it's on the table that they might miss the playoffs, even though I had been thumping like, no, they're going to make the playoffs and they're in a really good spot because of tiebreakers right now.
Yeah. The Cowboys are going to be an interesting team to follow. But if they lose
2
Thursday,
games,
if they lose Thursday, they're in big trouble. Like, they are.
Oh yeah.
Every game becomes a must win. I don't think they get in it. Anything. I mean, 10-6-1 is the absolute lowest they can go.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
So again, like, if your margin of error is 1 game right now, it's tough. It's tough. I don't have a good gauge of where their defense is at right now. Obviously, Quinnen Williams has made a difference. How big of a difference has he made? I don't know. The 49ers are already up 7-0, by the way.
Dang it. Have you seen what the Cowboys have done in run defense over the past few weeks?
No.
Been really, really freaking good.
Okay, but who have they played? They've played the Eagles, whose run game has been shite.
And the Raiders.
Well,
I mean, Ashton Genty's good, but I don't know if.
No, their offensive line has been so bad.
Okay.
Their offensive coordinator got fired today.
That's true.
That's how good their run game is.
And then
So I don't.
I mean, we are 2 weeks past them getting boat raced by the Cardinals.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if there's enough. I don't know if there's a big enough sample size yet to say that defense has like
turned a corner,
really bounced back.
I don't know. I guess like 18 carries last night for. I mean, the run game, like the actual running game, like outside of Jalen Hurts, like last night it was Barkley and Bigsby had 11 carries for 30 yards.
No, I agree. Like, that's impressive.
Like that's not good at all for, especially for an Eagles team, Meko, that was like they were dominating that game.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just don't think I don't think the Eagles' run game has been anywhere close to adequate this year.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, like
By the way,
the Lions defense didn't look that good against it though. Is all I'm saying.
but by yards per carry, the Eagles are 27th in the league at 3.9. The Raiders are 32nd in the league at 3.5.
Yeah, but I mean, like also like there is a little bit of like you're up who you're up against, right?
Yeah,
Like so
of
like
course.
yeah, small sample size, I get it, and
Right.
maybe not the best teams, but like I think the Eagles run game is a lot better than their running
Yes,
backs 11 carries for 30
of course.
yards.
Right. I mean, it's the whole point of on paper is like if I put their performance against their season averages, that is still a great defensive performance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I mean, they get their long carries. Jalen Hurts had an 8-yard carry. Bigsby had 1 carry for 8 yards. And Saquon's longest carry was 7 yards.
Yeah.
So 10 for 22. Take away the long yard, Jeremy.
No.
9 carries for 15 yards for Saquon Barkley. 9 carries for
So
15 yards?
I
Okay. I'm just saying.
who do they have next? Oh, the Chiefs.
And their run game is poo poo.
Yeah.
It is where are they? Chiefs.
It hasn't been
no.
good. I mean,
118 yards per game, 4.3 a carry. Pretty much both those are right around average. It's league average.
I mean, listen, I'm fine with the Cowboys having a false sense of security when it comes to their run defense, so that way when Jahmyr Gibbs comes trotting into Ford Field, they understand what true fear looks like.
I am very glad that that game is at home.
Yeah, no home cooking.
I'm just tired of that game being in Dallas. Period.
Yeah.
I'm also hoping that Aiden Hutchinson can continue his streak of dominating Cowboys tackles.
Play stays
Yep.
healthy in that one.
And that too.
Yeah.
The one last thing I wanted to say to Miko and you making that observation about Dan saying maybe that's just who we are as a football team at this point. I think the most disheartening thing about that is after the Packers game, the way that he spoke about the offensive line, where he's like, I know they're not done. Like, that's encouraging. And he's like, I say it in a good way. Like, there's so much growth left to take place. Like, with Mahogany and Ratledge. He's like, but them collectively as a unit, like, that's pretty exciting. Like, where they could be eventually.
Yeah.
And it's like now we're after week 12, and it's like, and I know he's not saying
he's not
about the whole
giving up
team.
on their development, right?
On the offensive line particularly, right? But he's just
Yeah.
kind of like, I mean, we are who we are at this point. Like, you got to embrace it, I guess maybe is the right way to go about it rather than just coach speak and yeah, we're, everything's going to be great.
I think that's the thing that will always endear Dan to the fans to a certain extent, where his honesty to be like, hey, this is maybe who we are, and we have to figure out how to be better than this, or whatever the case may be. That's fine, because at least I feel like it makes our job easier, because I don't want to have to come on here every week and try and sell hopium about well, the offense really isn't that bad. They're going to get better, and it's listen, guys, we're 12 weeks in. This might just be what the offense is.
Right.
And that can be frustrating, but it also can be the reality.
Yeah. I think if I were to like Key and Peele sketch, interpret what Dan Campbell is trying to say there, it's not like this is who we are. It's, hey, we're going to try to get better. We think we might be able to get better, but if we're not better, it's also not the end of the world. We can still win football games. That to me is, I think, what the overall message is there.
Yeah, and I think that's true too. I think there are areas where I have reserved the thought process hey, this is probably going to be a problem for the rest of the season. The interior offensive line is probably going to be a problem for the rest of the season. You got rookie, a guy that's playing center that probably doesn't really want to play center, and now your backup right guard. That's you'll probably have some great games from them, but at the very least, you're just hoping that they play decently, good. Again, I think there's other guys on the offense that we'll probably talk about in the next segment where you look at them and you're just You got to be outworldly though. Like you got to be on another planet with your play because I kind of can't. We kind of can't afford that to be an issue, and then you to play subpar or inconsistent.
Yeah.
I have lots of feelings, but I want to share them in segment 2.
All right, let's get to it then. While the stupid Panthers punt, stupid Sam Martin. He pinned him inside the 10, so I guess he's not that stupid.
Is it the Sam Martin?
It is. What other Sam Martin would it be?
Oh man. Yeah, look at LJ in the chat. Sam Martin sighting on it. MNF.
Manif.
Minif.
By the way, chat, 215-ish away from Spin on the Wheel of Pain. Don't be shy. I know a lot of you agreed to $34 donations for 34 points.
Is that one Tony Romo away? Or is that set at 250?
I don't remember. 250 is enough, though. Oh, Steve Martin. That's right.
Yeah. So at the bare minimum, Tony Romo will get it done.
House prison. No teardrops yet.
You went to prison?
Sulfur break asked.
Oh, because your face?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
No regrets.
Drew Falcon. All those letters make a sound in my head. I know that exact sound.
There's a $34.27 donation from Das Gibb. Thank you, Das Gibb. Appreciate you, buddy.
34.27. What do you think that represents?
The same as all the other 34.27 donations. That one. Oh, there we go. Now I hit. Okay. Now we're
Chauncey, $5 million bail. What?
For real?
Ryan, are you even going to show up to the pod if like we end up having a score where a game where the score is 6-7?
No, I can't. You're gonna see me on the news. Man storms Jonathan Vilma's home.
Did he do it again?
No, but
On
he was
Sunday?
just awful.
No, he did it in the international broadcast last week because I went to the bar to meet up with one of my friends to have huevos con chorizo, and he made a 6-7 joke at 10:30 in the morning, local time.
Jahmyr accidentally dropped one in his post game. It's just
He did it accidentally. Jonathan Vilma's like, yeah, but Jonathan Vilma's like, hey,
oh yeah, no,
hey.
Yeah. He's
Donald
like
Trump,
this.
you know what I'm talking
He's
about?
like the 4-year-old
No.
that like he gets to laugh one time and let me do it 50 billion other times because it made you laugh that one time. Oh, we got Duncan. We
$5
got a
million
lot
on
of
bail.
$9.16 donations last week. Not a lot, but we got some. It was very sad.
Ew. I'm sorry. I'm not poo-pooing on charity.
Donations.
I'm sorry, but
Pick. Okay. Was it a pick six? Was it deep in their own zone? Tell
does
me more.
Bryce Young and the offense have to take the field?
Gamecast. Oh, it was a deep pass. It's kind of an arm punt. No, wait. Yeah, he returned to San Francisco's 14-yard line. Okay. Back in business.
Well, let's
All right,
get out of here. So,
yeah, let's do some podcasting instead of live. We're not actually watching the game commentary.
I just turned it on.
Fine, I'm going to too then.
Should the 49ers bench Brock Purdy and go back to Mac Jones? Okay, we can go to segment 2.
And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit PODcast segment 2 here, where we are going to be focusing our attention solely on the offense. We spent so much of segment 1 talking about the defense and some of the struggles they had, but the offense had their struggles, but there was a bright spot. And I'm forcing us to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs first because I feel like if we talk about the other stuff, we'll never get to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs. But Ryan, I'm going to start with you. Give me a word, a phrase, something to describe what you saw from Jahmyr Gibbs yesterday afternoon.
Barry-esque. And I don't want to even say that lightly. I think that he has so much juice. This has to be what it felt like to appreciate Barry Sanders in the moment. Like I was 7. I was about to say I was about 6 or 7 years old when Barry Sanders was in his prime. And I'm being truthful. I'm a 91 baby, so that literally makes sense. I'm not making a joke. But I think that's what it has to feel similar because what Gibbs does on any given play, he has the opportunity to make a house call. And he did it in 2 big spots in this game. The receiving touchdown that he had was incredible. Like the display of athleticism to adjust to that ball, getting a tad overthrown, catching it, having the wherewithal to extend it to the pylon. It was really good. I mean, it was incredible. And to get both feet down too, as you're adjusting, because we saw that in the Philadelphia Eagles game, like AJ Brown not getting both feet down before touching the ball to the pylon and the ball being out of bounds because you have to establish, position with the ball there. I think the only way to describe Jahmyr Gibbs at this point is that he is the most important person to this offense. And I think it really bums me out to say that because I am a David Montgomery truther, true and through, and I will continue to stump for him, and he deserves to be a part of this offense. I think it's much more situational now. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs has every right to get as many opportunities in every game if this Lions offense wants to be effective. So, I mean, I think quite literally, he's the best player on the offense. He deserves the ball the most. When it's in his hands, there's an opportunity for magic to happen. That's Barry Sanders.
Yeah, Jeremy, the minute they got to overtime, I'm sitting at my house and I just said to myself, I was like, just give the ball to Gibbs. Like I had pretty much had enough of the passing attack at that point where I was just like, give the ball to zero and just let's see what happens. I think that kind of sums up kind of what Ryan is saying. Like Jahmyr has really kind of ascended to the point where it's like I do think you can put a lot of this offense on his shoulders and just see how far that'll carry you week in and week out.
I think I agree to. I mean, it obviously depends on how the game's going too, because I feel like they tried to do that last week against the Eagles and it didn't work as much. Like he had a couple explosive plays in the receiving game, right? Like that is what gave them at least a shot in that game. But when the running game's not working, then it's almost like you're force feeding him, and it's just you're running into a brick wall. And even Jared Goff admitted that in this game, like there was maybe a little bit too much force feeding him in the receiving game. He wasn't as explosive in the receiving game. He almost, knocked the Lions out of field goal position at the end of regulation with maybe a little bit of force feeding. I mean, it was a bad pass. It was a bad decision.
Jahmyr Gibbs or Jared Goff? Okay, all right. I just want to make sure. Like that's
No,
a Goff.
but
But
that's what I'm saying.
Was Goff's. Yes, that was like Goff's decision to be like, hey, I'm throwing the ball to him too much.
Right.
It's overuse. It's too much. It's
right.
It's putting a hat on a hat thing. Yeah.
And that's part of the issue. And like part of the bigger issue here is because like when you're in these gotta have it situations late in the games, it can't just be to Jahmyr Gibbs. As much as you want it to be, it can't. You're gonna have to have someone step up, but I don't want to get into the problems of the offense because I do want to celebrate Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit because I'll be honest, like it was one of those things that I didn't realize was happening in the moment. And part of that was because of just the anxiety of the entire game and the frustrations of the entire game. And I'm just like, I just want to get out of here with a win. I don't care what's happening. I'm not paying attention to like the historicness of the moment. And it kind of took me talking to some younger guys on the beat who are admittedly a little less emotionally involved in the game. And it took me hearing them say like, that was one of the best football performances I've ever seen from an individual. And then I had to be like, wait, what? Who? Oh, he had that many yards? He did that, what? He had that 14.6 yards per carry? That's a real thing? And it, I mean, first of all, it just goes to show you like how sometimes you need to remove emotions from the game a little bit and just like sit there and appreciate what you're watching. But yeah, I mean, it's a historic game for him. And I don't want to say it's proof that he's a top whatever running back, but it's proof that when everything works as it should on offense, particularly with the offensive line blocking the way it should, this team is extremely dangerous still. And yes, you continually have to like throw in the asterisk of this was the worst run defense in football. Just like Washington a couple weeks ago was one of the worst run defenses in football. But if the Lions can gain a little bit of confidence, if they can use these games as a stepping stone to like, okay, this is what communication is supposed to look like. Okay, this is what this play looks like when it succeeds. We have a blueprint for how it works. Now we just need to be more consistent against better defensive fronts. Then you got something going. There's a reason why I said it last week going into this game. When the run game runs effectively, a lot of the other problems about the offense figures itself out. Now, I would say this was probably one of the worst offensive performances with an outstanding run game, but still, like you were able to do a lot of things that you haven't been in previous weeks because of the run game, and some of that is getting into favorable down and distances, and the Lions were actually good in favorable down and distances on third down. They were, I think, 4 for 4, maybe 5 for 5 on 3rd and 6 or shorter. So when that's working, everything else falls into place. But more importantly, in an offense that I feel like has struggled to find explosive plays, he's kind of been the one and only source of them. And that makes a difference because the Lions are going to find themselves down in football games. This wasn't the only game they're going to be down by a score or two. And because the pass game hasn't been the sorts of those explosive plays, maybe it can be the run game. The key is sticking with it, though. The Lions probably should have stuck with it a little bit more in this game. Gibbs only had 15 carries. Montgomery had 5. I think a lot of that is game situation-wise, but at the same time, like they were never down by more than 10 points, and so you'd like to maybe see them lean on it a little bit more.
I mean, I think they trailed by 10 twice. You know what I mean? So maybe that helped get them out of it towards the end of the game. But Meko, real quick, I just have to play Jeremy's favorite game where we take away the 69-yard run from Gibbs. That takes him to 150 yards on 14 carries, which is still 10.7 yards per carry. So,
well, again, and that's the thing too. Like, even if you were to take away like the 3 long runs, a 49-yarder, a 49-yarder, and the 69-yarder, like he still had a more than 50% success rate. Like,
yeah,
they weren't explosive runs, but he was getting 4, 5, 7 at a pop, and that's the thing that the Lions really have been missing because you look at like their success. I did it again, didn't I?
No, you went 4, 5, 7. You skipped it.
I avoided it.
Oh my gosh.
I nailed it. But no, I mean, if you look at the Lions' success, that's the one thing the Lions' run game has not had is they've had the explosive plays here and there. They haven't had the down-to-down consistency. Their success rate has been relatively poor this season, like below average. But this game, it was different. It was you got the explosives, you got the down-to-down consistency, and that to me was very promising, not just for Gibbs because we know what Gibbs is capable of, but because of the offensive line. And again, asterisk, Giants' worst run defense in football. I understand that. But I mean, if they can even carry a little bit of that into this week against a Packers run defense that is much better, but not like unbeatable. Actually, it's pretty darn good. So I don't know. Just continue to give me glimmers of hope because it's like we were saying in the break. It's not just that you succeeded against a bad run defense. You blew them out of the water. Like they had not given up that many yards or that high of a success rate all season. So like even for a bad run defense, that was the worst performance they've had, which I think says at least a little bit of something about how good you are capable of being in the run game.
Yeah, I think that was also something I was going to say is that even though this is, again, statistically, like, yes, one of the worst run defenses, it is still a run defense that has a lot of talent across that defensive line. They haven't necessarily played up to the names on the back of the jerseys. When you talk about Dexter Lawrence, you talk about Brian Burns, you talk about, having Abdul Carter and those types of guys on that defensive front. But when you're talking about an offensive line that you're just like, hey, can you guys just move bodies out of the way and allow Ja to kind of do the rest? Like, I think that's been the thing that's been so impressive, Ryan, about him since he's come into the league is his ability to like find space, specifically like up the middle. Apparently that's something that David Montgomery taught him. That has really kind of like set him apart. And it makes me kind of wonder, like, whenever guys have explosive performances like this, like the first thing that people want to do is start comparing them. I do got to ask you guys, where do you guys have Jahmyr right now as far as like when you compare him to the other running backs in the league this season? Like just going off of this season's performance, I think, I think we can all probably agree that Jonathan Taylor's probably at the top of the list, but like after that, where does Jahmyr's performance so far this season kind of land him among the other running backs in the league?
Gibbs is better than Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is an offensive line merchant.
Wow.
No,
Whew.
no, like Taylor deserves credit, but I think like Gibbs and Taylor would be considered in the same tier, like 1A, 1B. I'm not going to choose between those two guys. Are you kidding me? Like, I think Gibbs is otherworldly. Like choosing between the two of them, it's like choosing between your two favorite cereals. You're going to be happy with either one.
Yeah, I mean it's worth noting now Gibbs is third in the league with 951 rushing yards. He's first in the NFL in yards per carry though. It's 6.1, which is just like bananas video game
Nutty.
numbers. Um, yeah, it's hard to say because I got to be careful here a little because I don't want to discredit anything he's done, but a lot of his work is kind of going untouched. But again, like part of that is him, right? Like it's the speed. It's the I I think it was
You
Al
got to
who put
outrun
it
everybody after it too.
right. The way Al put it, I think in his stock report is he's the kind of person that erases angles. Like there isn't an angle that a safety can take to catch him because he's just that fast, that explosive. That's a skill, right? That's not just okay. You throw anyone back there and he's gonna run it, take it for 60. He's gonna take it for 70. Um,
Otherwise, David Montgomery would be doing it.
right. I don't know. Like it almost feels like I'm nitpicking, almost in the way that we nitpick between someone like Amon-Ra versus a prototypical outside receiver, where like, yeah, Gibbs isn't making a million people miss and breaking tackles and stiff arming people into the ground, although he has done all of those things. That's not what
All
he's
of
known
those
for,
things.
right? Like,
Yeah.
that's not normally how he's making these explosive plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. All that said, like none of it matters. You can win however you want to win, and the Lions are finding ways to make him win in ways that no one else is running for 6.1 yards per carry in this league. So I agree. Like he's in the top tier of running backs in this league. Order them however you want. I would probably have Taylor ahead of him. You know, most years I would have Derrick Henry ahead of him, but like it's not been an explosive year for Derrick Henry. So
It hasn't been for Saquon Barkley. Like
right.
those guys had heavy workloads last year. Guess who didn't have as heavy as a workload as those guys?
And isn't that heavy a workload this year either. Like by the way, he's third in rushing yards, but he has 44 fewer rushing yards than 44 fewer rushing attempts than James Cook, who is ahead of him, and he has 50 fewer rushing attempts than Jonathan Taylor.
I
That's
think
like
this is a
two games
lot.
worth.
I think yeah, no, and that's why I asked the question because I know when Morgan and I talked about Ja coming into the season, like we had him as like 1B only to Christian McCaffrey at the time, like coming into the season just based off of how CMC is used. But I think it is something to kind of see Ja live up to that hype, even with him splitting carries, even with him not necessarily being the workhorse back. I think that speaks to just how dynamic he is. And to Ryan's point, how vital he is to this offense's success at this point. Like he truly is the player that I think at this point everyone kind of looks to in terms of like to your point as well, Jeremy. If you need a play made, if you need a big play made and it's only on you, Ja's kind of that guy at this point.
He is. He just to put this in reference, like from this year to his rookie season, he has 27 less carries and 4 less catches. So 31 less touches. He has 1,330 yards from scrimmage this year. In his rookie season, he had 1,261. So he's got like almost 70 more yards from scrimmage on 31 less touches from his rookie season. Like the efficiency and the volume, like it's starting to meet that point where it was like, oh, this is where it could get nutty. And maybe it needs to in order for this Lions offense to be good because it wasn't all good on Sunday. I feel like we need to talk about some of the warts now. We've
No,
waxed poetically enough about Gibbs.
And listen, you're getting there right when I was about to, because I think the only other bright spot to this offense was the performance that Amon-Ra St. Brown put up. I think after having the game that he had against the Eagles, a number of uncharacteristic drops. We kind of said it last week, Jeremy. You give Amon-Ra 10 plus targets, he's not going to drop that many of them. 13 targets, 9 receptions, 149 yards, and a touchdown. But outside of that, this passing attack looked very clunky. And I'm curious from your perspective, how much of that is the Sam Laporta effect versus just some just uncharacteristic things, or just some struggles that this offense has kind of had this season in terms of passing the football.
It feels like it's a little bit of everything because it felt very close to being fine, but you had two drops from Amon-Ra, including one that at least erased 3 points from the scoreboard, maybe more. You had a drop from Brock Wright. You had arguably three, probably call it two, from Jameson Williams. And a lot of these are coming on like critical downs. You have, you know, Jared Goff taking a sack that took them out of field goal range.
I was gonna say, was it an underthrow to Slaw, or like some kind of miscommunication on that route?
Yeah, I think
That
Goff
was
was
weird.
just under pressure,
Yeah.
and missed him. You know, on the interception drive, you had Jared Goff airmailing a ball to an open Amon-Ra over the middle that would have been good for like 15, 20 yards. It felt like there was always one negative play, and it would disrupt the entire drive. And that's part of the problem too, where it's like on first down you have Jahmyr Gibbs bobble a ball. It causes the defense to be able to close in on him, and he loses 2 yards, and it's 2nd and 12. And this offense can't pull themselves out of it because in 2nd and 12 they're not running the football. And if you're not running the football, the pressure's getting there, and Jared Goff is checking down or missing or whatever. And right now they are just not a good football team on obvious passing downs. So any sort of negative play can end a drive on any down.
Real quick too, like Jonathan Vilma, this was another thing that drove me nuts. He mentioned that like, oh, the Lions are getting in these 2nd and long situations and they don't want to run the football there. I'm like, buddy, what?
They did, but I feel like they didn't actually do it that much in this game.
They didn't do it that much in this game, but it was like, no, like they are not afraid of running the football on 2nd and long.
Right. So to me, it was just like they were fine until like one bad thing happened, and then like they couldn't recover, whether it was a drop, whether it was a penalty, whether it was a negative yardage play on an early down. They couldn't dig themselves out, and that to me is frustrating. That's something that they need to be better at, and haven't been great at this year. They're not good at 3rd and longs. I think they generally run too much on 2nd and longs that get them into 3rd and longs, and that's where I think there's this fundamental problem of the offense right now. And I want to pull out a stat from offered from Justin Rogers of Detroit Football Network that I think is eye-popping and almost shocking, because since the Browns game in week 4, so from week 5 on, 7 games, the Lions have attempted a pass of 20 plus air yards 13 times total, less than 2 per game.
It's not
which is wild, which is nutty when you have Jameson Williams, a guy that I understand you're trying to make a more well-rounded receiver, but this was a guy who you hit on those plays every now and then, that at least you tried to hit on those plays to keep the defense honest. And of those 13 deep shots, how many do you think have gone to JMO?
Like 3?
2? Yeah, it's something like that. 8 of them have gone to Amon-Ra St. Brown. So at max 5, but I think it is like 3. And it's just like, okay, I understand what you're trying to do with JMO, and I know a lot of us were like, hey, more crossers because he can turn those upfield. But also don't forget, like, I don't know if they're using 12 weeks of the season to set up the final 7 games and be like, oh, this is where we're finally going to unleash the beast. And we were setting, the double moves only. Like, when have the Lions run a double move with him, with Jameson Williams? Are you telling me like the pass protection has been that bad that they can't even attempt a deep shot to him?
Well, Ryan, that's where I think things get kind of interesting, because I think for like a lot of the season, when we've complained or tried to, I don't even say necessarily complain, I would say try to coddle this passing game, we've looked to the offensive line and just say like, well, Jared doesn't have the time that he needs. He's not being able to survey the field and being able to step into throws or whatever the case may be. These last 2 weeks, in my opinion, have been a different story, and we're still not seeing those plays being called. So I don't know. Like, do you have a theory as to why this is kind of happening when we're not seeing these types of explosive shots, being thrown to anyone other than Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I have my theory, and the lights will go out if I tell you. But here's my theory on what's happening. I think that it has almost let this is going to sound weird. It has less to do with the pressure that Goff is facing as it is the hits that he's taking. And I know that might sound strange, but like the numbers kind of bear it out. Like as far as Jared Goff getting pressured this season, last season he was getting pressured on 20.9% of his dropbacks according to Pro Football Reference. He's getting pressured on 22.2% of his dropbacks. Pretty negligible. Like in 2023 he was getting pressured on 22% of his dropbacks. So like it's nothing like out of the ordinary. Last year he was hit 57 times. This year he's been hit 45 times. I think Goff is getting hit more. And I'm not calling out the guy by any means, but I'm saying that there is a pattern that you start hitting Jared Goff and the Eagles game happens. You start hitting Jared Goff and the Commanders game happens. I mean, understandably so. He took a nasty hit from Luvu, but I'm just saying that he's getting hit more. And I don't think that's giving him enough time or confidence to set up behind that offensive line and to do what he needs to do in order to take a deep shot. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Jared Goff's throws downfield require him to get the ball, to take that drop back, to get on his back foot, and then deliver a ball that he can with accuracy, but it needs time. And I feel like as the hits are piling up, there's less of those plays being called because he is taking a beating. That's not a spot you want to get Goff into where you're taking sacks. Because to Jeremy's point, like in this game, in the Giants game, he gets sacked for the first time on 3rd and 7, drive killer. The next drive in the second quarter, 3rd and 10, sacked on a 3rd and 10. That's a play that needs to develop further downfield where he may be taking a deep shot. He gets sacked on back-to-back third downs that kill drives in the first half. That's what puts the offense into trouble. They're punting the ball. They're not staying on the field. They're not having sustained drives. It goes back to, was it 70? How many defensive snaps for the
77
Lions? I mean, like that. The Lions won't win a lot of games when they don't win time of possession, and I think that's something that's been a characteristic of this team for the past 2 seasons. And I don't think it's the Lions can't win from behind because they obviously can. It can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that that's where this offense runs a risk is when they have to play from behind or they aren't dominating time of possession.
Right.
Because that was their best offense last year, right, Jeremy? Like their best offense was them having the football.
Yes. And this is why Jahmyr Gibbs can only take them so far, right? Is because when they have to get off game script, which is going to happen, they can't just rely on Jahmyr Gibbs to, run it for 70, 80 yards. It's why I think there's a fair conversation about why the Giants probably should have kicked a field goal at the end of that game instead of go for it on 4th down, because Jahmyr Gibbs was killing them, but could the Lions have sustained a touchdown drive late in the game when, they're running a 2-minute drill? I don't know. They need more answers in the passing game. And to kind of like continue this discussion, I'm looking at some advanced stats. Jared Goff's 6.2 intended yards per pass attempt is the lowest of his career. So right now, his intended air yards per pass attempt, 6.2, is the lowest of his entire career. It's only 0.1 less than last year, and so they can succeed that way, but it's been on a downward trend. His completed air yards per pass attempt is 3.3, which is the lowest since his first year in Detroit. And so, yeah, the Lions are very, very much dinking and dunking on offense, and they don't have an explosive play threat that I think they need. Yet we know they have explosive play potential in some of the guys that they have there, and it's just they're not utilizing it. And you can use the offensive line excuse. You can use they're playing too deep on us excuse. But one, I don't believe that as much anymore. If you are such a good running team, then teams can't be playing you too high, or you're going to continue to burn them with Jahmyr Gibbs. Second of all, welcome to the NFL of the modern era. Everyone is playing too deep, and other teams are finding ways to exploit that. You need to find a way to do it.
And I think that's where I don't want this to become like the passing attack, like the failures of the passing attack are all Jared Goff's fault, because I think one thing that Dan has said when they have had struggles offensively is that it is a collective issue, right? It's issues with play calling, there's issues with the offensive line. But I do think, Ryan, we haven't been giving Jared Goff his fair share of the blame in terms of where this offense is falling short, because I think something that you pointed out in terms of confidence is something that is starting to show up more consistently on tape. It is showing up more consistently in games where he's not stepping into throws, where he's bailing out of situations and not looking poised enough to survey the field when things are starting to break down around him and find the open man. I believe there was a game, I believe there was a play yesterday where there is early pressure from Brian Burns. He's able to escape it, and like David Montgomery is open in the flat and he just doesn't even look that way. And I think that's the play that they get the intentional grounding on, because he just throws it in the back of the end zone where there's not a soul there. Like it's moments like that where I think it starts to really kind of show in those moments that, like, you know what, he's not as confident as he needs to be to help lead this offense in a successful way.
I I don't want it to come as a knock on Jared Goff, but to your point, Meko, that's who Jared Goff is. Like it goes back to Dan Campbell's comments to me. Like that's who Jared Goff is. He is a quarterback entirely capable of leading an offense and being highly successful at it. His athletic limitations, it puts this offense in a bind when they can't have things develop downfield and him have time to make throws. If those two things can't happen and they can't stretch that offense more vertically at times, like they don't have to be airing it out all the time. Like
Right.
he doesn't have to be Josh Allen. He doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have to escape the pocket and make incredible off-platform throws, because guess what? He can't. Like he can't do those things, but that's okay because the Lions were historically great on offense last year. The Lions were historically great with Jared Goff under center. They were fantastic in 2023. Their offense drugged them to 15 wins last season on a defense that was banged to you know what. I just can't wrap my head around Frank Ragnow is the reason why the Lions can't be successful on offense. And the explosive stuff, part of this also comes back to where are the expectations for Isaac TeSlaa? Because to Jeremy's point, no Sam Laporta, somebody's got to step up.
Yep.
And if I'm Brad Holmes, it's got to be my third round pick that I moved a lot of stuff to go up and grab. He has to be an impact player. I mean, who knows what Khalif and his situation with his ankle, he was ruled out pretty quickly. I mean, that's the fastest guy on the team. So I don't know what they're going to do from here.
Yeah. No,
I almost lost my mind when Vilma said that. I was like, I know he did not let that slip.
Did you hear that, Jeremy?
No,
he said that Khalif Raymond was the fastest player on the team, and then he was like, Jameson Williams might have something to say about that, but Khalif Raymond, I'm like, yeah, you might have something to say.
What about the guy that has 3 of the top 4 miles per hour on next gen stats that may have had 200 plus yards in this game? He might be a little bit faster than than Khalif Raymond at this point. No, but I do think, I mean, there has to be more than one person that steps up. I don't know if it's going to be Isaac TeSlaa. It's funny because our last reel on Instagram is the clip of you in the preseason saying make sure you hit your patient button when it comes to Isaac TeSlaa in 2025, and I think that's the point of the season where we're at. We've hit this patient button a lot, and we're hoping for the Amon-Ra St. Brown second half of the rookie season increase. I don't think anything like that is obviously realistic for Isaac TeSlaa in his rookie season. But listen, he's going to play a lot on Thanksgiving.
He's going to get playing time. He's going to get a lot more playing time, right?
And the Lions have been playing a lot of 11 personnel since they lost Laporta, and they they haven't gotten enough out of that third wide receiver position. They haven't gotten enough out of the new tight end one position. There has to be someone else that can step up because eventually, and it's already happening, you're going to get Amon-Ra bracketed, and then that just and Goff is still going to him, right? Like he's still trying to thread the needle here and there, and the chemistry between those two is so good that it's still working more times than it isn't. But at some point, you're going to get to a down. You're going to get to a distance where Amon-Ra is covered, and you need to go to your second. You need to go to your third read. You need to find someone else. And at some point, you need to try to hit a big shot. You need to trust Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams needs to come through and not drop a pass. And at some point Jared Goff is going to have to realize that Isaac Taslaw is not going to get open like Amon-Ra St. Brown is. But you need to trust him to come down with it anyways. You need to trust him to make a contested catch because that's going to be his game. I know he's fast. I know he's agile. I know he's an athletic freak, but that's not how Isaac Taslaw is going to win in this game. He's going to win with his physicality. He's going to win with his hands. And so you need to trust him. And I'm not saying, nothing like Isaac Taslaw is doing everything he possibly can. Like, it's clear there's not a trust in him, both with Goff and with the coaching staff with the amount of time he's playing. But my goodness, like he has to be part of your game plan now. You have no choice. You traded away Tim Patrick for a reason, and so show us why.
Could be defensive pass interference penalties, Meko. Like the Lions have finally got one, so like the monkey's off their back. Throw some YOLO balls to Isaac Taslaw is what I'm hearing from Jeremy.
I mean, either that or, again, you bring up Tim Patrick. I think that's something else that I look at this offense and I wonder, like, what happened to those plays? Like, what happened to the Josh Reynolds, Tim Patrick plays that you used to call? Yeah, on third and longs when you knew that Amon-Ra was going to be covered, when you knew that, Jameson was just going to kind of clear out some space, and you ran those guys into the spaces in the defense, and you were picking up first downs that way.
Yeah. Well, Amon-Ra's running those routes now, clearly, because he's getting all the downfield targets.
But I think that's something else that, like, it's going to be interesting, Jeremy, to see how that gets noticed and how that gets adjusted. Like, with Dan now taking more ownership of this offense, like, again, all eyes are going to kind of be on you now. Like, we can't look at John Morton being like, well, why isn't John Morton calling these plays? Like, everyone is going to look at Dan and be like, hey, Dan, why aren't we getting Isaac Taslaw in more? Especially if, with Sam Laporta out, with Khalif probably banged up, like, it can't be week in and week out 13 targets to Amon-Ra St. Brown.
No.
Like, I just don't feel like that's a good recipe for success either.
Yeah. I know, like, this feels like week to week complaining because the minute that Amon-Ra doesn't get 6 catches in a game, he gets 2 catches for 24 yards. It's like, why are we not getting Amon-Ra more involved and things like that. But in general, it just feels like the offensive skill position is too narrow right now. That it's going to. I mean, first of all, like they're going to run into tough run defenses, and they're going to run into a tough run defense on Thursday. And so, what is your counterpunch? What is the Lions' counterpunch to that? And I don't have the answer, and I'm not sure the Lions do either, which is the concern. Like that's what we're talking about here. Is if Jahmyr isn't able to create those explosives in the run game, what do you go to next? If you're running the ball and not succeeding on first and second down, and you're facing a 3rd and 7, you're facing a 3rd and 8, you're facing a 3rd and 12, what is the game plan? Who is the go-to guy? And who is it once they're bracketing Amon-Ra St. Brown? And they need to figure that out in a hurry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say real quick, Meko, that like I think in years past, part of that secondary punch was David Montgomery. And I know it's like not the run, you might say like the run game and they might be able to take it away. It felt like there were games still last year where Ja or David could pop off. And like maybe one might have a step back, but the other one, like we've only had the one game where David has played significantly better than Jahmyr, and it was kind of boosted in the Baltimore game by some explosive runs. So that they haven't had that secondary punch in the run game either. So you don't have that secondary punch in the run game. You can't really throw the ball downfield too much. This is where it becomes a nightmare for Jared Goff. Like the the last time a Lions game really made me feel like this after the Giants game was 2023 against the Bears. There was no Frank Ragnow. The Lions went to
Hmm.
Chicago and they got their butts kicked because they shut down Amon-Ra and they shut down the run game, muddied up the middle of the field because they couldn't push the ball downfield. It's easier said than done. The Lions
Sure.
can win more games now because they have a defense to kind of match, right? And I think that's my big overall takeaway is that this feels so frustrating because it's so unfamiliar for who this football team has been on a macro level the
Hmm.
past 2 seasons. They've won games with their offense. You felt the most trust in their offense, and you felt like, man, as long as the offense keeps on punching, the defense will get a stop or they'll force a fluky turnover. It was like that almost all of last season.
Yep.
This season, it's not like that. Like you can trust the defense, and that's I want to talk about the coaching a little bit too, and like how I want to know whether or not you guys think that Dan Campbell has a little bit too much on his plate because there are some weird things that happened in the Giants game when it came to game management. Um, but that's where I'm at with like Dan and decision making and fourth downs, and we didn't get to talk about it because I missed the Philadelphia episode, but like I feel like the identity of this team needs to change a little bit as they get healthier on defense, as they add more guys. Like it made sense to be more aggressive on fourth down in 2023 and
Hmm.
2024 when you couldn't rely on your defense as much as you maybe can now. And I know that sounds weird after the game that the Giants had, but I think moving forward, if the defense shows improvement, if they get Kirby Joseph healthy, I think you have to kind of change a little bit of who you've been in the past.
I there's just one thing that I'll just say the thing that came to mind. I agree with you in a sense, but I feel like the defense was in a much better place to like receive that transition last year where it's like, hey, we're banged up. We have a number of guys that are out. The offense is going to have to carry the load for us. You're not having that same issue on the offense. So like I feel like going back to like the whole conversation about confidence, do you risk possibly damaging some confidence on the offensive end if you're like, hey, we're just going to start leaning on our defense a lot more? Because I feel like Dan's continual push of the offense is trying to imbue confidence in them, to try and get them to believe in themselves to go out there and execute at a high level. I'm not saying that's the best thing, but it's something that comes to mind when we talk about making a shift from an offense to your point that's been the backbone of this team for the last few years to trying to shift more of that responsibility to the defense.
Yeah, it's tough because even though they're not firing on all cylinders, even though they're going to be without Sam Laporta the rest of the season, even though Jameson Williams has his ups and downs, it feels like there's enough talent on this offense to still put a lot of trust in them, right? It also feels like it's generally the right statistical thing to do is to be aggressive on offense and not punt from midfield and not settle for field goals when you're down inside the 5.
Sure. And I agree with most of that. I'm not saying like he needs to
Yeah.
swing in the total opposite direction,
Right.
right? But like
Mm-hmm.
it felt like that in the Eagles
It's
game,
different.
right? Like your defense was playing really well. Like maybe not a fake punt, at midfield, right?
Yeah.
To your point about like you have a great offense, you have all these skill position players. Like go get a first down with all that talent, right? You don't have to throw the kitchen sink at teams. So like it's Dan calling plays on offense, and it's also Dan like game management and
Right.
time management. Like that's I guess that's what I kind of want
Yeah.
your opinion on.
Well, yeah, it's I don't like spiking. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't like spiking the football. If you have enough time to run up there and get to the line of scrimmage, run a play. Run a play. Like
Yeah.
stop with the spiking. You're wasting a critical down in a critical moment, and
Especially when they had a timeout, right? Like
Right.
that's the other thing. Like the worst
Yeah.
thing that happens is if that play happens, you
at the end of
complete a
both
pass,
halves.
you can call a timeout.
Both halves, by the way.
Both halves. Yeah.
And so, and I know a lot of people are interpreting that as like he's focusing on too many things at once, and maybe there's truth to that, maybe there isn't. But I also think there's just like a philosophical difference between me and him, where I'm like, I don't think you should almost ever spike the football unless I don't know, you're taking knees and you're out of timeouts and you need to stop the clock to get your kicking team on the field. Like, to me, if you're rushing up to the field, the way the NFL works today, and I understand like it also gives you a chance to catch your breath and all that stuff, but especially with some of the inconsistencies on offense, I feel like a down is too important to this team to just burn one. I just got done talking about how this team can't dig itself out of second and third and longs. Well, you're immediately putting yourself into a second and long with a spike. So either use a timeout, or if you're hustling to the line, hustle the line and run a play. Because I don't think you're doing yourselves any real favors by just spiking the football. And I don't know if you heard Ryan, but like the spike that went into a timeout at the end of the second half, that was a miscommunication in the headset. Like Dan lost, he couldn't hear Jared Goff, and so they couldn't communicate a play to him. Of course, like you'd also like to have a backup plan for that. That happens every now and then.
Like 2 plays, right? Like maybe have 2 plays called or something.
Sure. But either way, spiking to me is just one of those nitpicky things that I don't like at all.
Yeah. I think the other thing too, and maybe this is nitpicky, but I felt like at the end of the first half, right? The score was, was it 17-14 before they scored? 17-14, right? And then they kicked the field goal, the Giants did.
That sounds right.
And the Lions answered.
Yeah.
So they're down 17-7.
Yep.
They're on that drive that starts with about 4 minutes left. And I think the Lions had all their timeouts. I felt like it was uber conservative the way they were treating that clock, because it was like you're down 2 scores. You are getting the ball back in the second half. You are getting the first possession in the third quarter. But it almost feels like 4 minutes, 3 timeouts. Go score the ball. And then you can put them in a position where maybe you have the 2-minute warning as an extra timeout. And that's 4 clock stoppages. You can get the ball back and maybe kick a long Jake Bates field goal and tie this game up going into half and getting the ball. You know what I mean? So it felt like 4 minutes was an opportunity against this Giants team to be more aggressive than they were acting. And like, lo and behold, like, Jahmyr Gibbs almost kind of like saves them from that, because he has that 49-yard run that he rips off, and then they score the touchdown before the 2-minute warning. But like leading up to that, it felt kind of lackadaisical, and it was like, I don't know, the aggressiveness versus not being aggressive, and like that comes back to a lot of the fourth down, the decision making and stuff. So I can't imagine that it's an easier day to day, and especially on game day operation for Dan Campbell. Like I can't imagine that is true in like any sense of the word.
Yeah.
I do feel like that specific situation though, I wouldn't surprise me if Dan was just like, hey, we were just thinking of like not trying to give them the ball back.
100%, Meko. And I totally understand that, because it was the same stance he took against the Eagles the week before, right? Where he took the knee and he was like, oh, we were cool with going into half.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, and like just keeping those timeouts that were going to burn up and evaporate at halftime.
And the Eagles situation is much harder to like justify and be okay with based on how that game was going. This one, like, I kind of understood, where it's like, okay, if you can go out there and you can get a touchdown and you know that you're going to get the ball out of half, great. Maybe you're just like, hey, we need a hard reset. Let's go out there. Let's score. Let's not give them the ball back with any, like, to Jeremy's point earlier, maybe that's just like a philosophical difference. Like, because I can at least understand the rationale of that way better than I could the week before.
And I can too. That's why I was saying it might be a little bit nitpicky. And I think, and maybe you rationalize it as saying like our pass defense does not look good in this first half. So maybe we don't want another possession where the Giants, and maybe we just want to bleed this clock all the way out. And Jahmyr Gibbs ruined it with his 49-yard run. Way to go, Jahmyr.
Down at the 2.
While I didn't agree with the way that Campbell handled either end of half, I didn't feel like he was necessarily overwhelmed in those moments. The one moment where I'm like, okay, he might be spread too thin it was in the second quarter. There was a pass to Jamison Williams that looked like maybe he still caught it. Like maybe he held it between his knees or something. And it felt like the Lions were waiting to see if they should challenge that, and waiting. And they never got a play call in. They had to burn a timeout. And that's where I'm like,
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, Dan, you should be on the play sheet right now. That should be your priority. And then when someone in your ear tells you challenge it or don't challenge it, that's when you shift your focus. And I feel like maybe he had his focus a little bit too shifted. There was another time where, like, I can't remember what it was. So there was an argument that maybe the Giants had fumbled the ball, and like he had the red thingy in his hand. He didn't throw it because his knee was 1,000% down, and I'm glad he didn't challenge it. But that to me is maybe the one spot where he might still need to like figure out, okay, how do I make sure I'm making the right call when it comes to challenging the play, but also keeping my head in the game when it comes to being still on offense and calling plays.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, guys, all right, this pod has gone long. Do we want to still talk playoff race? Because I think that's the other thing to come out of Sunday is just obviously the Lions getting to 7 wins is awesome. Didn't get much help though from the other games, and really just curious. Maybe this can be a quicker conversation, but just Jeremy, overall, like how you're feeling about the Lions' chances and of getting into to the big race or to the big dance, and just
Yeah.
the rest of the NFC as a whole.
Well, I mean, it's tough because everyone else is continuing to win, and it's feeling more and more like 10-7 isn't going to cut it. Feels like the Lions are going to have to get to at least 11-6. And listen, we can talk down about the Bears all you want, and we were playing some kind of hypotheticals with the Bears during one of the breaks, and that's a team that very well might go 10-7. Despite the fact that they're 8-3. They've got a really, really tough end of their schedule, and so do the Packers. And honestly, so do the Lions. But, it doesn't look like they're getting... They haven't gotten any, lucky help. They haven't gotten any upsets in their favor, at least when it comes to Chicago. And, we're watching right now halftime of 49ers Panthers, and that one doesn't look like it's going in the Lions' direction either. And so you put that all together, the Lions are 7-4. They've got 6 games remaining. It feels like they have to be at least 500. And they've played 500 ball for the last 6 weeks. They have to be at least 500, probably 4-2. And so, if you want to highlight losses, if you want to play that game, the Rams certainly looks like the toughest game, which means you have to go 5-1 against the Packers at home, against the Cowboys at home, the Steelers at home, but then 2 tough roadies. Like, say what you will about the Vikings and the Bears, those aren't going to be walks in the park either. And so,
especially if McCarthy's not playing.
Right. So, I mean, here's the thing. The Lions have to win the games that they're going to be favored in. And I guess, they don't have to win on Thursday. It's a huge game, though. Like, if they win that one, suddenly you're breathing a little bit easier because then there's another game you can spare to lose, right? You could essentially drop one to a Cowboys team that looks a little bit tougher. You could drop one to the Rams and then take care of business against a Steelers team that is not that good, probably the worst team remaining on the schedule. Then if you can take care of business against a Minnesota team that by all means is probably going to be out of the playoff race by that point in the season, and then you have a big showdown with the Bears to close out the season. So, like, if you take care of business this Thursday, you should feel a lot better about everything. I wouldn't say I'm breathing like 100% easier, but a lot more comfortably because I think they improve their margin of error in a huge way. If they lose that game, suddenly it's like, okay, this team can probably only lose one of their last 5 games, and that's tough business.
Meko, just recognize that Jeremy said he's breathing a lot more comfortably because Jake Bates nailed a 59-yard field goal.
I'm surprised you're breathing at all. To be completely honest.
Especially Dan Campbell's reaction to that field goal is priceless.
I was so sure he was going to miss that kick, but like I'm there with you, Jeremy. Like, I think I will breathe easier. I'm pretty sure if they lose that game, depending on what the loss looks like, I'm probably gonna have a hard time. Like, I'm probably gonna need to go get an inhaler or something because I'm gonna be clenched the rest of the season.
I guess if I'm gaming it out, I really do think that the Bears are not as good as their record indicates, and that they're 8-3. The bottom could fall out. Their defense could be fool's gold, and they run into a buzzsaw of a final 6-game stretch where it wouldn't shock you if the Bears went 1-5. Like, would it shock you when I tell you that their schedule is at Philadelphia, at Green Bay, Cleveland versus Green Bay, at San Francisco versus Detroit? If they win one game over that stretch, they're 9-8.
Yeah.
And the Lions, I think, will have a better record than them. And that takes one of the playoff
Right.
spots right now that the Bears have,
Well, yeah, that's
regardless of what the Packers do. So I
right.
think to your point, Jeremy, that's why this game, it can't technically be a must win.
Right.
It certainly does help your chances a lot.
Right. 'Cause, I mean, if the Bears go 9-8, you suddenly can play 500 ball the rest of the way and make the playoffs. And that's all.
And
I
just
mean,
beat the Bears.
if you're looking at it this way, the Lions just need one of three teams to falter down the stretch. Either the Packers, the Bears, or the 49ers. They need one of those teams to absolutely fall on their face. And again, like it's looking like all three of those teams are going to win this week, but tough roads for all of them. Now the Cowboys are lingering there. They're what? They're 5-1, is that right?
Yep.
You know, if they go on a run here, but they also have a pretty tough. They have three really really tough games, and you know if they lose two of them, suddenly their ceiling is 9-7-1. So
Which
you
the
know,
Lions playing 500 football beats them.
right, exactly. So even if the Cowboys go 3-2 down the stretch, the Lions can beat them at 500. Even if the Bears fall on their face and go 1-5 down the stretch, 500 Lions football gets them there.
The thing you really want to happen, though, is you want either that Packers or Bears team to win both games, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think you want the Packers to beat the
You want
Bears
to sweep.
twice, or I think you want the Bears to beat the Packers twice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think more than anything, I just want the Lions to play better football down the stretch. Like I just
Amen.
right,
Yeah.
like let's not have to be sitting there in week 16, 17 hoping that someone is losing games.
Does that count? 16, 17?
Gosh.
That was unintentional.
Shut
Jonathan Vilma will not be taking over this podcast.
shut this down. Shut it down, Meko. Turn this thing off.
All right, guys. Well, I feel like this was another good therapy session. Again, Lions got a very much needed win, and I think overall, like we talked about in the first segment, they still have so much of their destiny in front of them. There are so many things that they can still accomplish that they want to accomplish this season, and I think all of us can take solace in that at the very least. Is that you know what? Go out there, take care of business against Green Bay, and then it's one game at a time after that, like Dan Campbell kind of likes to say after each and every press conference. So with all that said, if you guys are looking for any more additional Lions content, you guys know you can always head over to prideofdetroit.com. There's new articles being up each and every day, multiple times throughout the day. It's a short week, so things are going to be coming at you fast and furious over at Pride of Detroit with the Lions playing on Thanksgiving. So please make sure that you check out the website over there. Also, if this is your first time watching over on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. It helps out the channel a ton, and it makes it that much easier for you to find videos that we upload, but as well as when we go live over here on YouTube, or as well as over on Twitch as well, which is twitch.tv/Pride if you want to watch over there and drop us a sub over there as well. So with all of that said, I'm Meko, he's Jeremy, he's Ryan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch and listen, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Recording stopped.
The Red Wings made it a game.
Did they get it to overtime? Or did they just
I saw it was like
lose?
3-1 at one point in time, or is it like 3-2?
It's 4-3 with 2.5 minutes left.
Ew.
And the Pistons are on the verge of a franchise tying 13 wins in a row.
I was watching too much of that Monday night game, and I don't. Here's how 5 drives went in that game. So the Panthers kick a field goal to make it 7-3. Then it's interception, 3 and out, interception, interception, interception. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Brock
I
Purdy has
saw
3
the box score
interceptions.
and I was like, how do they have 3 points off 3 interceptions? The Panthers are not a real football team.
When they threw that interception right after the one that got them into the red zone, I was very mad because it came on a 1st and goal too. It was a 1st and goal from the 1.
Yeah.
They ran play action and Bryce Young threw it right to a defender.
That just can't happen.
Oh, Meko, what's that?
I got an egg that I'm supposed to smash on my head, so
Yes.
go ahead and get that over with before.
Oh man. Good luck, buddy.
Is it bad? Like the biggest concern that
Yeah.
I have is it's getting in my beard.
Yep, that's gonna be a
Yeah.
problem.
Let me, as someone well versed in this, let me recommend a few things. Get away from your computer equipment. Take the headphones off. Take the hat off.
Gotcha.
If you have a towel or something, perhaps. Okay, yeah, something to lay on the ground underneath you.
Oh man.
Glasses off too.
What if you wrap up the towel like a barber cape?
That's what I was thinking. That's
right?
what I was thinking. Cause like yeah,
Austin,
I can't afford to get this on the ground at all.
Take advice from the guy with fart on his chin. How dare you? Hold on, I need to get some water.
Oh,
I am very, very thirsty, and I made a drink that I forgot to bring with me.
I did not bring something to like throw this eggshell into the. Oh wait, I got a cup here. I can put it in here.
Chat, we're also $145
I can't even remember who redeemed
away.
this.
What?
I said I can't even remember who redeemed this or who asked for this.
That is a good. I forget too.
All right. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get this over with.
I'm sweating out the Pistons after I jinxed them.
You jinxed them? What's going on now?
They're down. They're up 5 with a minute left.
No, they're still up 5. It's in the bag. I won't start watching. It's fine.
Yeah, please don't.
Oh God!
Oh man, that really shot.
Yeah.
Oh, Meko. It sucks. It really without the hair, it just shot off the bag.
I hope that didn't go on the bed.
Peekaboo. Oh man, Tobias Harris shooting foul.
To think that there are people in an industry that take shots to the face is wild.
All right. I'm gonna watch the end of the Pistons game.
Oh God, they're re-showing the trick plays from the Giants on Monday Night Football. All right, I guess we'll get out of here unless someone wants to throw $145 into our charity bin here by hitting !donate and donating that much to get us a spin on the wheel of pain. We can get out of here and
!POD after dark.
Yeah. Jesus. We'll also be live tomorrow night for First Bite. Is that right? That's right. Yeah. Tomorrow night.
You're the boss. You're the boss, man. Whatever you want.
8:30
Thursday
tomorrow.
games suck. Thursday games suck, right, Jeremy?
Thursday games suck.
He literally messaged me earlier. He's like, "Are you good to do the podcast on Thursday at 7:30?" I'm like, "That's gonna be one hell of a review for First Bite."
I meant Tuesday.
No, I know, but that's what Thursday football does to people.
Yeah.
Everything's off. I don't feel right.
Fair. I'm not going to Taco Bell without washing my face. I'm not going to Taco Bell period because I already ate dinner.
That's a good reminder though.
Yeah. Because that has happened a few times. So we'll be live tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. with our good friend Dusty Evilly to talk Lions Packers. We'll be live Wednesday night for the Madden Sim. Don't have a time on that yet, but we'll do it. And then we've decided that we'll do our post game for Thanksgiving probably around 3:00 on Black Friday. What time is the Black Friday game? Are there a couple of Black Friday games? What's happening?
I think there are a
NFL
couple.
doing?
There is Black Friday games. Game singular.
Game.
Bears Eagles. That's gonna be a big one.
Right at 3 p.m. Good job, us.
Yeah, perfect. Good job. All right, so we're gonna reschedule that.
Let's reconsider.
I guess we're. Oh man.
Maybe that becomes a Saturday one. I don't know.
Why is the NFL trying to occupy every day of my life?
Saturday.
Play the games on Sunday.
Does Saturday make more sense for you guys?
I guess.
The thing,
are you guys still gonna want to listen to review at that point? I don't know.
I mean, if the Lions
I think
win,
so.
If the Lions win, they will.
Okay, right. So if the Packers win, no podcast this week. That's what Jeremy's saying.
No, what I'm saying. Okay, here's the thing: the Lions lose that game. We wouldn't want to do it Friday anyways because we want to wait for Chicago to also lose on Friday. Then we'll really feel a little bit better, and then Saturday we can do the pod.
This is why you're the boss, man.
But here's also the problem: is I'm pretty sure Saturday is going to be Monday in the Lions' week of schedule because they play another Thursday game. So I don't know what the Lions' schedule is yet this upcoming weekend in terms of media availability, but I would say
we'll do it live.
Plan on a Saturday post-game podcast for now. We'll figure out when later.
We'll do it live.
And I'm also now realizing that this is also going to be during Michigan, Ohio State, but I don't care because I'm not going to watch a second of that dumb game.
Oh, wow. That's
I don't watch a second of it last year. They're going to get smoked.
That's racier than what Meko said earlier.
Why? Come on.
This game matters. If Michigan wins this game, they're like in the hunt.
Yeah.
I don't want them in the hunt. They suck.
You don't hear him talk about the Lions like this, folks.
That's because I don't get any enjoyment out of watching Michigan play the way they currently play. It is boring, terrible football.
Do you liked it better when they were stealing plays?
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, he also
better.
I'm a dog in the fight. Yeah, I mean, they got J.J. McCarthy drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
Like, holy smokes.
Ryan, he also doesn't talk like this about the Lions because none of the admins at Michigan are going to DM him and be like, "Hey, we need to have a conversation."
No, stop it. That's a YouTube comment. Like, "Oh, I'm afraid to lose my credential." Get out of here with that.
No, look at Reisman carrying water for the organization.
I'm sorry. What is my nickname on this podcast for 9 months out of the season?
The guy who hates mock drafts.
Okay.
Running backs don't matter.
No.
Yes. All right. No, point taken, wet blanket. Point taken.
Yeah. I'll pull out the wet blanket jersey. People think I can't talk negative about this organization. Show me anyone else who has 2 opinion pieces about questioning Brad Holmes' drafts.
Oh man. Hey, I want to tell you, we couldn't get into it, but oh man.
I know a guy who might have a couple pieces. I know a guy who might have a couple articles out there.
Okay.
Does his name rhyme with Barlow's?
Don't compare me to him. Hold on. Where's this conversation going?
What rake have I stepped into?
Oh man.
So the next podcast coming your way, who knows when?
Yes, the main POD
It'll be a mystery to everybody.
Sometime Saturday.
Halftime during Michigan, Ohio State.
After it's 21-0 after the first quarter, we'll jump on.
How dare you? How dare you talk about this, your alma mater?
They don't give me press credentials. What can I say?
Oh, man.
Oh, golly.
All right. Ready to get out of here? Go enjoy the second half. Go Panthers.
Yep.
Go Pistons if that game is still happening. Condolences to the Red Wings.
Dang it.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Bye.
Good night.
Later, guys.